All right, let's try this again.
Maybe this will work.
Yeah, this isn't. This is actually crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Then this is never. I've never seen this happen. Even when space have crashed, I've seen them queue up with no problems, like 5 or so minutes later with no issue or whatever. So,
Yeah,
if we crash, then we know something's up.
right. Yeah.
So hopefully we can bring everybody back up here. And if you guys
Yeah,
are,
Cassandra, I want Cassandra up here for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
she's up here.
eh, I mean, it's just insane. And none of the reasons they're giving, things to know is that Loomer got a lot of engagement today talking about what she's talking about. It's not a popular issue. Doesn't make sense for her to go up against the old guard. Same, it didn't make sense for Gavin Wax and some of these other influencers to stand up against it. In terms of the HB1 visa thing, they were getting good engagement on it. Elon replying, and then this happens. Loomer lost her badge an hour ago, I think, and then conservative was debadged 30 minutes later. So if you say that it came from the org in any way, and it had to have, because at least in their explanation, because all of our affiliates lost their verification, well, then why did Loomer lose her check 30 minutes before us? Not to mention, there's been no violation of terms of service anywhere we can find, and it's probably some kind of rogue employee. If Adrian Dittmann, who's got to be Elon Musk, is on here telling us what the case is and how it cannot be anything other than just a fluke, to me, that symbolizes that maybe Elon wasn't behind it directly, and maybe it was some rogue employee. But what we do know is this isn't just a coincidence. Loomer lost her badge 30 minutes later. We did. Billing doesn't even hit until the first. So everybody's saying, Did you pay your bill? Did you pay your bill?" It doesn't hit until the first, so that wouldn't even be a talking point. Um, but yeah, it's just bizarre. I mean, I don't know what else there is to talk about. And once again, this is not a matter of terms of service. This is a matter of somebody somewhere very high up in X, and it's a part of a bigger thing. Doesn't like what we're saying. And that's why this has happened, at least in my opinion. Now, you can say that that's speculation and conjecture all you want, but that does seem to be the public optics of this.
And here's the thing too. You know how I could tell you for a fact with Loomer is different. It's very targeted towards Loomer because I have a sub still. I believe Raw has their subs too. Loomer is the only one who've lost any subscribers or anything like that on X. I have not. So that message that she got about how a subs are disabled or whatever, that's specific to her account, not
Right.
to mine. And I don't think Raw alerts either. So that makes me indicate or makes me feel like this is not just like, oh, whoopsie daisy. Someone put that label on her account and had her subscribers disappear just like that.
Yeah, and I mean, look, there's like all these bullshit Twitter organizations that like are nonsense. Like, there's some for like crypto coins and all this other stuff, and like we have one, and it's dedicated towards exactly what the bio is, which is reject modernity, embrace traditionalism. Fight back against this idea that we do need to replace the American stock with foreigners. We want to embrace Christianity and stuff like that, and then just somehow we get shut down. When there's all these other organizations who are like posting nothing but shit, and it looks like spam, and it looks like total fraud accounts, but they're left up and we're shut down. And to Adrian's point that he made earlier, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense that it somehow came from the organization, but Loomer was shut down first. Doesn't make any sense. Loomer, this is her bread and butter. She makes a lot of money from this app. And from her audience in general, they subscribe to her page and they go to her Rumble and they are able to support her there. And now she's just lost a large stream of income because of this. So this is just political targeting at its finest. And this guy's in the room with Trump. And these types are in the room with Trump. These Silicon Valley elitists, they're soulless demoniacs. And I don't want to get into hyperbole and I don't want to sound dramatic and whatnot, but this is a perfect time to talk about the fact that these guys literally want to replace you. They want to replace you. They're not apologetic about it whatsoever. They want to replace you. If they don't care about America, they look at it like a fucking sports team. They said that much today. You know, that voice, it got a face to it today. Elon. And we spoke out against that, and this is what's happening. So it's just discouraging.
Is it possible we can bring Adrian and Jack
Yeah,
up?
I'm trying. I'm
There's
trying. Well, he's
there's
not.
also a couple
Adrian's not
senators in
requested
here as
yet.
well.
He's never requested yet, so I'm trying to invite. I don't even see him in the listener list right now. No, I see him. I'll invite him to speak right now. If he wants to tune in, he or join, he can. I invited him, and I don't think Jack requested, but I'll invite him as well if he wants to hop up here and talk or chime in as well. But yeah, this is a bigger problem. I mean, with X and the tech bro space, we've had battles about immigration for the past for years on end, and now it's coming to fruition at a very late time to before the administration kind of gets their gear in order or whatever and gets people in office or whatnot. But this whole banning thing just coincidentally 30 minutes or an hour or so after. And you're correct, the billing does not apply or is not renew now. It's the 27th. It doesn't happen for a couple of days or so. It's my
Right.
understanding as well. So
Right.
I don't think there's any sort of issue with payment or whatever. And I saw Elon Musk, like making posts recently. I've not seen him make one post about the organization and how a bunch of check marks in the right wing, people who have lots of influence, people who are, not just right wing people, people like Raw Alerts does news and coverage and all of that. They lost their check marks. People who are make memes, right wing stuff, they lost their accounts. And I've not heard a single word from Musk about this at all.
Well, we've cheered Elon on in the times where he's, done certain things good, brought certain people back and done good things on policy and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I from the beginning have thought Trojan horse, Trojan horse. You bring in these guys like David Sachs. You've got Palantir sponsoring the military football game they had. It's like this stuff is just so dystopian, and we operate on a timeline where one specific race of people gets blown to bits every single day. You have people who try to defend that race heavily in some cases, and they get people shown up to their house and trying to kill them, and nobody does anything to protect them. And so to me, it's just mind-boggling. It's spiritually irking. Uh, you have a lot of us, and everybody who just lost their badge today for the most part are firm believers in the fact that Christianity ought to be the face of this country, and that more than any time than now, we have to make Christ the forefront. And for that, we're gonna face persecution and all these other things, and that's why we're seeing this battle of evil happening every single day. It's just it's nuts. We've been noticing certain things for a long time, and then this kind of culminates. So bizarre, bizarre. But if you can get Cassandra up here, I'd love to hear what
Yeah,
she's
she's
got
up
to
here.
say.
Yes, so yeah, Cassandra, chime in here. What are your thoughts on the entire thing that's going on with X and censorship and being, I guess, removed of a check mark? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a little bit insane. I haven't lost my subscribers or anything like Loomer did, but I'm wondering if that's because I also pay for the X premium or whatever on my own. So it's also kind of weird that I lost my check when I pay for it myself on top of conservative org paying for the gold check or the brand badge. So I don't know. I think it's definitely not a coincidence. I think it's just a matter of if Elon did it to be petty or if a rogue employee did it to be petty, personally.
To be
Right.
honest with you, now that I'm actually looking back at like what you guys just said in terms of like the other people still having their subscribers, this goes back to a certain part of the TOS where if like, for example, X amount of reports came in, a mid-level person who could be, let's say, in Europe, ended up getting the ticket, right? If he sees whatever the violation may have been and then executed on Loomer, that affects the org no matter what. It just does. So the reason why you guys probably lost it is because somebody targeted Loomer, and Adrian might be right on that. It could be a rogue employee, or it could have been somebody thinking they're just doing their job. So like, there's certain pieces that you have to factor into that.
Even if it was that, though, even if it was that, there's no justification whatsoever. There's no justification for every ramification that followed in terms of economic loss and,
Oh,
the pure
absolutely not.
spectacle that this has created. And I'll say this, Laura, as far as I can see, didn't violate any terms of service, and let's say hypothetically she did. I'm sure it would be some kind of joke or jab she made at some racial minority. Uh, but it's like, is that what? I mean, I don't think
I
that's
mean,
what it was.
you have
But
to
even if it was,
remember
is that really?
you have to remember one piece that people used to do on Twitter like forever ago, right? Like Twitter, like I guess point 0.5, not even Twitter 1.0. People would used to go back like 15 years on your Twitter and then report like one tweet several thousand times, and it would cause the same. It would kind of cause the same scenario. If let's say you know she got suspended at one point and then they went back and found a tweet and then reported something there. Like there's a lot of factors you have to take into this. There's not it's not
Yeah,
just
I know,
it's
but
not
I
just
don't
us.
buy that. I don't buy any of
That's the
that. I
thing.
don't buy
That's the
that.
thing. But like that's
This
the
isn't a coincidental thing that somebody just got. They just went back and found a tweet, and it just so happened to violate the terms of service in this specific way, and they got us, and they nuked us, and they got rid of all of our badges all in the same time, and then our spaces crashed 50 times. That doesn't just happen, and it doesn't just happen when you're saying the things we're saying that not a lot of other folks, with certain followings in the MAGA realm are saying. So you got some people who are just total supplicants who are not, saying anything about what's going on. And then you've got us, which is the minority faction, I'd argue, and we're saying stuff, and then our whole account gets shut down. It's very odd timing. And if I were you, to be an advocate of free speech and whatnot, I would not even give a leg for these guys to prop themselves up on, because it's been nothing but continued assault against anybody who's within our circle of politics. People, whether they're on the outskirts or not. You had somebody just a couple weeks ago literally almost get murdered in their own home, and these threats were being continuously purveyed on this very app, and nothing was done about it, and nothing doesn't seem to be done about it today. So I'm just not buying, and I'm not giving any sympathy whatsoever. I'm not giving them any room to defend themselves. There's no justification for it. They've just cost a lot of people a lot of
No,
money.
I to be honest with you, I completely agree with you. And if I showed, shared my horror stories, you know, I'm sure you would completely understand. You know what I mean? I don't think that it was meant to be intentional, but it is intentional. I do see what you're saying. I completely agree with you, and it did cost people money, like bottom line. And I always tell everybody, you can play with, people's emotions, whatever, but when you start playing with people's money, like, you're fucking up. Like people are gonna really feel some type of way about that. So
Right.
yeah, I get it, and I do think that it will be resolved in shorter amount of time than it usually does because of the obviously the movement behind what you guys are saying. People are definitely reaching out to people, but I would say don't strictly attack Elon for it. Like you said, it could be one rogue employee that did it, and now they're trying to find a way to re-reverse it all without, causing you guys headaches, right? Because don't forget that payment portal for X is through Stripe. Maybe a manager has to reach out to Stripe. Hey, can you reverse all of these X amount of payments to go back? Like we'll pay for all the subscribers to go back. Now they have to do all of that manually. That type of stuff does take time, like especially with the amount of affiliates, the followers you guys have, all the badges going back. Like there's a process to it. There's a method to the madness, especially when it comes down to tickets. Like it just has to be tracked. Everything has to
For a
be
guy
monitored.
for a guy that's launching rockets into space, I just don't know how this cuts it. I don't know how these kind of mistakes
I
fly.
mean, you have to remember, don't forget, like sometimes you send in a ticket or you send in a response, bro. Like I have a case that's been waiting for 14 days. I still haven't got a response yet. Like like I said, don't let me tell you the horror stories you know, of my experience with people. I just don't announce it. I don't say anything about it because it's like, I'll blow up. I'll crash out. Like I'll be honest, I'll just crash out because I don't understand it because I worked in IT. I know how to reply to tickets. It needs to be within 30 minutes or less. That's just what it is. But the fact that you guys have reached out and nobody said anything, and I'm sure you haven't got a refund or anything for gold, um, that leads me to believe that, they're probably trying to work on it, bro. Like,
Yeah,
honestly.
some of our folks are saying they've still got their subscribers. Oh, I know Loomer says she doesn't.
Which leads me to believe that it was straight targeted at her, which caused the TOS, which in result made you lose your gold, which caused everybody to lose their check marks. Like Cassandra said, she still has her subscribers because she still pays for premium, which is valid. That shows that if Loomer's the only one that doesn't have her subscribers, it was targeted by TOS directly at her. And based on the association with your org, you lost it too. That's it.
Yeah,
It is in the print.
I know, but
It is.
I don't. I just don't buy any of that. Okay,
I understand.
it doesn't. That doesn't happen today of all days, where Elon directly interacts with her account in opposition to what she's espousing. It doesn't just happen that way. And look, this isn't a direct attack on Elon necessarily. I mean, I do believe that there are certain forces at play in all this that are not good forces, but maybe it was a rogue employee, and if it was, we just want this situation to be resolved. We want every loss that our people took, because every second that goes by, some of these people have really big accounts. They're not making money on monetizing, as far as I know. And so we just want this situation to be fixed, and we want people to be able to advocate for Christendom and for the Americans to not be replaced by foreigners without having to worry about political retribution from tech oligarchs, that have billions of dollars. I mean, in the simplest form.
Oh no, I
That's what it
completely
is.
agree
But
with you.
what are you talking about? Like, what specifically are you talking about? You have no proof for any of what you're saying.
Once again, this is not a pointed thing to say towards Elon. This is to say it's very coincidental. Everything that's happening simultaneously, not just this our account being shut down and all the affiliates losing their badge, but
I also think it's extremely coincidental that even though your space supposedly crashed a bunch of times in a row, this has been like the longest you've been on a space. It all operates off the same protocol. So if something was wrong with you or your device or anything in general, you'd be kicked off the space pretty much at the same level of frequency that you were out of your own space when you were hosting it, because there's no difference.
I don't know what to tell you. I screenshotted the.
I don't know what to tell you either. I think that's also a pretty interesting coincidence.
I screenshotted the screen when it kicked us out. It was a white faded screen.
Okay, so post a screenshot. Post a screenshot. I want to see what it is.
So wait,
Maybe it just like went black or
so
something. I don't know.
hold
It
on.
can happen. Like maybe you clicked on a space that was previously recorded. Could also be. That's one of the other ways that spaces tend to end themselves. Actually,
So wait, so
by the way, just for everybody to understand, I'm not Elon or anything. I'm just here, kind of as a commentator, really, in a commentator type of capacity.
Right.
That's what I'm doing here.
Adrian, so just a question.
I'm just being annoying. Just professionally annoying. I'm a professional chain yanker.
Okay, just a question for you, Adrian. So, of all of us, Loomer had a notification about subscribers being removed. I don't have that notification. No other creator in the organization had that notification happen. So, why do you think that her subscribers were miraculously just turned off?
Because they didn't pay for the subscription. So you cannot have any subscriptions. I think you can actually have subscriptions enabled. Not entirely sure on this, but normally a lot of the monetization features are not available to you if you're unverified. So that would happen if you were to say if you were to be okay. So if you at some point had a just subscription to premium active, and then what happened was you just cancel it because you now have the organization badge, and the organization badge actually gives you free premium plus. Then if somebody were to rock the organization badge, you'd actually sit there without any subscription whatsoever. And mostly anything, I think that has anything to do with verified, would be canceled on the spot because you just don't have it anymore.
I pay for
So
my
if they
own.
stopped paying for it, they stopped paying.
I pay for my own, and I lost my blue check too.
Yeah.
And I was verified through conservative, but I also pay for my own still.
Yep.
And it's gone.
Yeah, I have mine. I have mine for
That's
the entire
odd.
year going into I believe what was it, like March or April or no, June or something of next year, the whole year. So I lost mine as well. And the thing about this too, Loomer said that she also paid for hers and she lost subscribers, specifically that feature that I have not lost. So I have not lost subscribers. I have my subscribers or so. I'm sure that Rollert, he said he has his still. Cassandra probably has hers. I'm guaranteeing all of us have subscribers except for Loomer. So why was hers just turned off, but not all of ours?
Mute conservative.
Yeah, somebody has a
What
lot
do
of
your
feedback
emails
right
from
there.
X say?
Like that.
I've had no emails from X. But hold
That's
on,
a
I
good
want to hear
question.
Adrian's response to that question, though. I want to hear Adrian's response
Look,
to my point.
What point? You made a lot of points, man.
Yeah,
It's getting
your point's
confusing.
this. We all, except for Laura Loomer, right? Myself, Cassandra, Raw Alerts, we have subscribers still. Loomer does not have her subscribers. She pays for X. She still pays for it. I paid for X. I lost my check mark. I have mine for an entire year. So why is Laura Loomer not having subscribers on her account? And why did we all lose our check marks despite us paying for our check marks still?
I have no
Okay.
idea. That doesn't make any
So-
sense
To me,
whatsoever.
you're
Maybe there was like some
offering
sort
these
of bug of some kind.
You're
I'm not
offering
sure.
these bleak explanations when we ask you the questions and point them
I'm not
towards you.
offering any
But
explanations
okay, then why
whatsoever.
do
I'm
you come
basically
in with
interrogating
pure
you.
opposition? Then it seems like you come in and you're just you're
Because it's a very
wrong. You're
strange
wrong. You're wrong.
thing. And
You're
I mean,
wrong.
look, you used to have a strange history as well of like manufacturing certain stuff. So I'm being naturally
Okay,
critical here.
so now
That's
what
a
do you
normal thing.
consider manufacturing? What do you think we've manufactured?
I'm not saying that you've manufactured
You just
anything. I'm just saying that you've had a history of supporting people who manufacture
okay. So
things.
you did say
You know,
that,
stuff
but
that has actually
you
caused a
did
lot of
say that.
damage at scale.
You did say
So,
that, but
wait, what did I say
regardless, you've
specifically?
come into this whole thing very pointed, saying that everything we've got's wrong, but you don't offer any reality. So what is it?
No, I did not say that everything you've got is wrong. That is not what I've said. When did I say this?
You've said that you've gawked at every single explanation that we've tried to hypothesize for being the cause of this whole
I
situation.
was asking you what exactly was going on, but I didn't say that you were like. I was just asking you what was
Okay, so
happening.
as someone who's well, you know, you've got a long history
Well-
being on X, and you know a lot about the terms of service. So what do you have any idea of what it could be?
No, actually, I don't. Normally, if something like this has happened, you may have some post in your history, or you have made a reply of some sort. I'm not sure, but there must have been some sort of violation, or it's a glitch, because that can happen as well. Or maybe one of you has caused a bit of a problem, and then there was a response there, and that then caused some sort of a glitch, perhaps, because that has happened in the past. Glitches do happen. Not exactly what it is. I don't work there. I don't know. I'm just trying to like understand what the whole drama is all about. I don't think somebody's like explicitly coming after you and trying to shut you down, because if they would, you wouldn't be here talking about it.
Well, but here's
Just to
okay,
put it
I
out
think
there
it
quite
shows
clearly.
the teeth of the people
well, okay.
who have
So,
the
but I think the point's
control.
been made though.
No, like simply, if they wanted to like take you down in its entirety, they would have done it.
Okay.
There was an organization account that was like creating a shit ton of problems back in the day. I still remember there was like one in particular where they were. It was a crypto related. I don't know what it was. I kind of remember it still. But what was happening is they had an org that basically kept posting stuff with wallet drainers on it or something like that. And so basically everyone in the org itself with the affiliate badge was actually participating in this. And so what they then did was the org account got rugged and everybody else associated with it also got suspended.
Wow. Well, even more reason to be
Right.
angry.
This is the thing that I observed all the time. Actually, was a very, very crazy thing because I saw that was happening back in the day, and they were legitimately causing massive amounts of fucking harm, financial harm to a lot of people, innocent people. And so basically, that account got suspended. A bunch of other people got suspended as well. So, like I said, if you did something which would warrant a response where you'd be shut down, and if you were like true in what you're saying about people coming after you, they would have come after you to the effect that you wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Okay,
and even if you were able to be talking about it, it wouldn't be as impactful as it is as you think it is now.
About X coming after somebody, I can tell you for a fact that with Loomer, she had a unique notification that I didn't have, that Cassandra didn't have, Isabella didn't have, Jack didn't have, 9M didn't have, Rawlers didn't have. It is exclusive to her. She lost subscriber access. That was not for all of us. So that.
Well, I'm not sure what she did. Maybe she did something and caused. I don't fucking know.
But
Yeah, but I okay, but
I don't know. Maybe you should talk
what
to her.
you're
Actually,
missing
here's
here.
the thing: as the one individual who this is affected to this most serious degree, where is she?
She's very disturbed by it naturally, as anyone would be when their financial, powerhouse takes such a major hit.
Adrian,
I've communicated with her.
It's too disturbed to come onto a place and speak like they usually did whenever they were disturbed, to the point where they even involve themselves in certain types of protests physically.
To be honest with you, Adrian, I
invited her. So
I did invite
if she wants
her.
help here, she can.
I
But
did.
you go ahead. Sorry. Continue. Whoever's speaking.
I did invite her, Adrian. I invited pretty much everybody that was under conservative, but Some of them haven't really responded or talked. I think Cassandra's probably the only one in conservative and treat Trumpster that have like really said anything in here so far. Like I said, it kind of does fit the narrative that you're saying. If they really wanted to get rid of you, they just would get rid of you. So I
I
understand that one
disagree.
completely. That is true, but um, it kind of fits my narrative where if Laura did do something that, like you said, was malicious or anything, that does fit into the organization terms of service are different from the actual Twitter TOS, right? Like you're held to a higher degree per se. And if she did do something wrong, like I said, it will rug the org. Like that's part. It literally says that if any of your affiliates do anything malicious, the organization will be like it will be taken. It's
Okay,
clear.
but I think until we see any proof of this malicious thing that we're conjuring up from the depths of our mind to give sort of a crutch to these people who have just done what they've done, I think we ought to see proof, and I think we ought to operate in the mind space of innocent until proven guilty. And I haven't seen a thing, and I think it's
Yeah.
oddly suspicious that the day that she sticks up for white
Actually,
people.
out of everybody
Okay.
here in this conversation, the most, I think, down to earth in terms of like the facts was Jordan here, and is the only person who actually said something of
Okay.
substance.
Wait,
Great.
hold on. Wait,
I'm
time
not
out.
against any of
Time
you,
out.
by
So
the way.
Seems like it.
I'm not against any of you at all, but I just kind of feel like that's
Okay,
exactly
so
what's happening here.
Adrian, my dialogue with you has been pretty straightforward. I've raised two main points. One being that there's a problem with Loomer specifically with subscribers. Second point is that we all pay for check marks and we still got hit with a check mark loss and lack of premium features. I understand it'll work for X. I understand that you're not Elon Musk or whatnot. I don't expect you to have every single answer about the algorithm or whatever, but you came here because I know you know a lot about X and all of that, and I asked a question. You didn't know the answer. I understand that. It's a very complicated algorithm, and X is not your wheelhouse. You don't work there or whatever. So I get that, but I don't think it was disrespectful or whatever. We have a pretty basic conversation back and forth about this. So what I understand the point you made about
Um,
adding the value. The only value we have is that there are problems with X, and they're not resolved right now.
I think it's maybe just a problem with Loomer doing certain stuff, because based on what Jordan has been saying here, I think that's exactly how it would pan out to be.
Okay,
That
Laura
that
Loomer's in
specific
the chat.
individual might have
She's
done
requesting.
something.
So let's add her.
Yay.
All right.
Laura, go ahead and defend yourself.
That's just outrageous. I don't understand how we can call this a free speech platform and then, oh, wow, you're going to come out and criticize Elon Musk and raise legitimate concerns, and then he's going to retaliate and reply to Mario Nafal and say, oh, yeah, play stupid games and win stupid prizes. So apparently, if you want to question Elon Musk or you want to get accountability in the age of, big tech leftists changing their mind all of a sudden and waking up one day after President Trump almost took a bullet to his head, deciding that they want to be MAGA after voting for Democrats their entire lives. Well, you're going to lose your subscriptions, and you're also going to lose your premium access. I can't even purchase premium anymore. They're always talking about how you should buy premium. Well, I purchased premium, and now I can't even buy premium
So
anymore.
basically, so your issue is more so with the dude than the actual product itself. That's what I'm getting here. Because if you're saying that you do not, in fact, have free speech, then why are you able to speak?
Why am I being limited to a character?
How does that work?
Why am I being limited? Why am I being limited? I wanted a premium account. Why am I
I don't know what
limited?
you did. Only you know what you did.
What did I do? I criticized Elon Musk.
I don't know. I don't know what you did. You're like basically turning everything upside down and causing massive amounts of chaos. That's what I can see that you're doing. And it's not that you're like
How is
criticizing a
it?
particular
How
individual
am
as to
I
what their
creating
decision or belief
chaos by
system is.
pointing
But
out
like,
the
goddamn.
fact that President Trump campaigned on eliminating H-1B visas and decreasing the amount of H-1B visas? None of the tech bros are going to know this because, like I said, they just decided after watching all of their rhetoric that they've been spewing for 8 years against Donald Trump for the last 8 years, almost get him shot in the head by an assassin. They're like, oh shit, maybe we should actually do
How
a
are the
180.
tech bros
Because
involved in a
because
person's
because
insanity?
for the last eight
What?
years all of these guys who constantly tell us that they're the best and brightest, yeah, you're so best and bright, but you weren't best and bright enough to know that Donald Trump wasn't the problem these last 8 years. Their rhetoric against President Trump
What?
has led to this mass psychosis that is basically
Whose rhetoric specifically? Give me an example.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg, for example. He's one of the tech bros. Look at Mark Zuckerberg and the way that he classified President Trump as an insurrectionist, silent.
How did he classify Donald Trump? Give me like word for word exactly
So
what he said
on
about him.
January 8th, 2021, 2 days after the protests at the Capitol, all of the big tech executives, including Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg, all conspired and said that they were going to deplatform President Trump. He was debanked. He was demonized. They said he was a threat to democracy. The transition of power hadn't even taken place. And then all of a sudden, we saw the deplatforming of Parler in one of the most egregious acts of big tech censorship ever. And then Donald Trump was deplatformed while he was still a sitting United States president. And for years.
And what does this have to do with X?
Well, because there
And
hasn't been
today's version of it?
any
So
accountability.
simple-minded not to see the relation.
There hasn't been any accountability whatsoever for any of these people. Elon Musk purchased X, and then he thinks, oh, okay, well, just because I purchased X, even though technically speaking, when you purchase a company, you assume all of the litigation that came along with that company. There's no accountability for any of the people who tried suing Jack Dorsey and getting accountability. People like myself, for example, when we wanted to hold them accountable for all, they want to say, oh, wow, it's a massive revelation, everything that came out in the Twitter files. People like me.
You're saying a whole bunch of stuff, but nothing is really adding up to anything. You're like trying to figure out some way
What
to
are you
pin
talking
down
about? I'm giving you examples.
someone who had nothing to do with this.
Because.
Yes, you're giving me examples of stuff that has happened in the past. And did these tech bros have nothing to do with what the system looks like today? You know this, right? Specifically, someone like Jack Dorsey and someone like
today, because they had the power and they had the free will to speak out about this years ago, but they only decided to speak out about it right as President Trump almost got assassinated. And I
If
want to
this
know.
guy's not Elon Musk, at the end of the day, he's just a guy with a funny accent. He's got nothing to offer other than to say everything that we're sitting here saying could be the case is not the case, but then he doesn't know what the case is.
Look, at the end of the
And I just want to point out too that Elon Musk has not retweeted or replied since Adrian joined this. Like literally.
Sorry, back. I
At the end of the day,
connection. Wait, what happened?
I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm looking out for President Trump. I don't think that it's unrealistic.
You're looking out by causing a massive amount of chaos and accusing people of deplatforming all this kind of nonsense, which is not really happening for him. Under Jack Dorsey, this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with the current state of X.
Okay, so
this has nothing to do with it. How does this have anything to do with that? You're going to say, okay, there was like some sort of rhetoric said by some people, by the way, who are not in charge of these systems anymore, that you are part of right now. You're on this platform, by the way. If these people were in charge back, if these people who were in charge back then were in charge of the system today, you'd actually be suspended, but you're not.
Wait. So the points that Loomer is making aren't just about X, it transcends X in this issue, but about the broader, tech bro space. And the problem is that you mentioned something about users not being able to be platformed or whatever.
The tech bro space. So you define very certain massive individuals as part of the tech bro space, quote unquote. Who's part of that tech bro space?
Literally, Y Combinator, Silicon Valley startup, Silicon Valley in general. The whole point I'm making to you, which is separate from this.
Y Combinator shut down Trump.
I'm not. No, I didn't make that. That's not.
Is that what you're insinuating?
You're misinterpreting. My point, if I could finish, is that the tech.
Okay, but you stated that the tech bro space was responsible with the deplatforming of Elon, blah blah blah, whatever else. So you by that extent,
you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say those words.
No,
yes,
I'm not. I'm making connections based on words that you said. No, I'm not.
Okay, you interrupted me. If you want to talk, I can. The point I'm trying to get to you, broadly speaking, about the tech space, there have been issues with big tech when it comes to censorship and social media and all of that. Just right now, by the way, Barry Stanton, an account on X, is banned. Nick Fuentes can't get a check mark. There are issues of deplatforming that happen all the time.
The Barry Stanton being banned was a justifiable thing. That was a justifiable thing. If somebody keeps posting absolute fucking dog shit, really just racist stuff without any reason whatsoever is kind of stupid. That deserves to get suspended, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
You get to dictate what dog shit is.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I was so honest. Wait.
I don't get to dictate anyone's anything. These are just policies of a platform that you're using or misusing.
What TOS do you specifically break? Can you give me one? Like, what specific things do you break?
Something along the lines of racism, and you can classify that as any one of those major things. I don't know what specifically they classified it as because you'd have to be behind the system, and I'm not.
You're passionately running damage control for an entity in which you have no stock in.
I'm not doing any damage control whatsoever.
I have a better question, actually. Wait. So Adrian, why did
I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing because it's funny. That's all I'm doing here.
Why
Don't
did
mischaracterize that
Adrian,
at all.
question.
They're not running
Adrian,
damage
Why
control for anyone.
why can't we be grateful to Elon Musk for purchasing X and then also just have a legitimate conversation about how, we want some empathy from these tech bros who are now just walking into Mar-a-Lago after 8 years of debasing Trump and the MAGA base.
So basically, you guys are jealous about a bunch
We're
of
not
you
people
don't know
jealous.
getting
binary.
We're not
involved
You
jealous.
can't
because
think
they
past
saw that
We're
shit's
binary.
not
getting real.
jealous. We're not
No,
jealous. We just
Adrian,
want
No,
Adrian,
we're
let me
empathy.
mad
finish
that
this.
they're
Okay, then
trying
why
to
are you
derail
focusing on
action.
the quote unquote tech
All right,
bros?
let's not talk all at once, but
Yeah, I
let
agree.
me hang on,
Can,
Chief.
can, can I have,
Let
okay.
me say this. I think it's very telling, and I'm going to say it multiple times. Everybody's been on here. I don't care. More people have joined. It's very telling that at the very time that Laura Loomer sticks up for one of the most unpopular stances known to man, which is sticking up for the white Christian populace of this country, she gets deplatformed, and the entity she's associated with gets deplatformed too. Now, you got this guy who's got a funny accent who gets up here running damage control for an entity in which he has no part in, allegedly. And he's naysaying everything that we're hypothesizing just to sort of get a feel of what's going on, but offers no solution, offers no insight on what the problem might be, other than just so happens on the day that Laura Loomer decides to defend the most unpopular talking point known to man, she gets deplatformed. And it was because maybe she broke a rule back in the day or something like that. I don't buy it.
No, hold on. And I want to make a point quickly though,
I
because
didn't break.
I feel extremely heavily censored by the mute button. I should demand accountability.
Adrian, I got a question for you. This is a very simple question. Could you explain why Nick Fuentes' docs has 16 million views?
Oh, by the way, about the Barry Stanton thing, I actually do recall something now. Let me finish on this about the Barry Stanton thing. He was claiming to be in a very specific location where the stuff that he was posting was actually violating the laws of that location. Whether or not he was in that location or not, he was at least pretending to be in that location. And because of the way that the laws are set up in the UK, he had to act upon those exact laws, because that's exactly what is stated and what X's mission is going to be. They have said it so themselves. If you were to read some of their posts.
All right, Adrian, I was wondering, Adrian, if you could explain to me why I have had my subscription shut down and why, as a supporter of premium and a supporter of independent journalism and citizen journalism on X, I've had my verification taken away for simply questioning Elon Musk for going against a major Trump policy. If you watch videos, and I have this video, it's one of my last tweets that I made. It's President Trump in 2016 saying the reason why he wants to eliminate the H-1B policy. So as somebody who has been an original Trump supporter, I voted for President Trump in 2016. I worked to get him elected in 2016, always supported him all throughout his first term, voted for him in 2020, voted for him in 2024. Why am I being punished for simply reminding people about what these original Trump policies were? I want to.
Because you were harassing, targeted harassments. Effectively, you were harassing Saram.
I'm not harassing
Why is it just Laura? Why is it just
I'm not
Laura?
harassing him. I'm not harassing him. I want to understand.
Well, no, you're not
Why
doing
is
it
it just
anymore,
Laura?
potentially, but you were doing it before.
I was
It's
done.
everyone
I
under
wasn't harassing
conservative.
him.
It is
I want
everyone under
accountability.
conservative.
These are people who are going to be serving in the Trump administration, so they should be held to a higher standard.
What's wrong with this specific guy? What's wrong with this guy?
He's wrong on immigration. That's the point. These workers do his position.
No, what's wrong with this guy personally in his clarification? Like, what is his qualification that makes?
I'm going to make the executive decision to remove Adrian because
No,
I
don't remove him.
Don't remove him. It's detracting from the entire conversation. We're not going to get anywhere when he's bringing up stuff that has nothing to do with the subject matter of the conversation, which is the fact that we were politically targeted. It's seemingly so. And he's offering no solution to it. There's no point in having a counter argument where there's no argument. It's just no explanation behind it, and starting up more, drama, riling up the crowds for no reason. We want to talk about the substance of this thing because at the end of the day, it wasn't just Laura Loomer who was attacked. Namely, she was the one who was attacked the most and the most obviously, but it was all the rest of us too. And the fact that we pay for an organization bill every single month, and now we don't have that, and we've been undercut significantly. So I don't want to have, personally, as the one who has the org, and speaking on behalf of it, to have this conversation detracted from in any way. So, Laura, feel free to, air out everything that you want to say, but I don't want to have this Adrian guy in here when, he's not contributing to the conversation anyway.
I don't think that we should. Okay, stop muting me or else I'm leaving. I just said I don't think that we should remove Adrian. Don't invite me to a space and ask me to come to your fucking space if you're going to mute me, okay? Like, I'm willing to have a conversation.
That was a glitch.
Okay, but I'm
I
just
think.
tired of it, okay? So don't mute the button. If you press the mute button one more time, I'm leaving. I don't think that Adrian should be muted from the conversation either because, well, we're having a conversation and I want to hear the perspectives. I want to understand how people really think that I'm, target harassing this guy simply because I have questions. I have questions about the people that are going to be serving in the Trump administration. This isn't something new. I'm known for questioning everybody. I question people on the left and the right. I've been doing it for years. So if people want to accuse me of harassing some guy that works in Silicon Valley and they want to say that I'm like an anti-Indian racist, that's just it's just categorically false. I've been very complimentary towards people like Vivek Ramaswamy and other Indians, and I have no problem with Indian people. I just don't want American jobs to be given to foreigners. And I also think we have a serious immigration crisis in this country. Elon Musk believes the same thing. So why can't we just find common ground on the things that we agree upon and agree to disagree on the things that we don't agree on? Why do we have to silence people and take away their ability to have subscriptions and to have verified accounts? I really enjoy being able to share my thoughts, and I'm a long-winded person, and now I have to have a small character limit. Why do I want to use a platform if I can't even express myself freely? I want to be able to post long-form tweets in my investigative journalism. It's just, I think it's really unfair personally, but.
So can I ask a question? Are we like saying that the whole thing, as far as the conservative tag, was just randomly stopped?
I mean, like, there's not an explanation. That's the whole point. Like, there's no explanation at all for why we lost our check marks. Up.
I don't think that we should silence.
Might be glitching.
I don't think that we should be silencing Adrian. I think he
Yeah,
should be
and
shut up
that's
and
fine
just
for
be
you to
there.
think. And look, Laura, I respect you, and we work together a lot. But my opinion, as the representing the org that it just happened to, I don't want
Okay, but
to,
I don't
regardless
care.
of
I
if
understand it's an org, but I paid for premium outside of your org.
I
Okay,
understand that, but
I paid for premium outside of your org. This isn't about your org.
that's phenomenal. But what I'm trying to tell you is, this isn't to me in order to get more impressions, more followers. I am pissed about the fact that this just happened to all of our affiliates. So
Yeah,
if this guy's
I'm
gonna get
pissed
in here
about it
and
as well.
if he's gonna get in here and cloud what the subject matter is of the conversation, then I don't want to have him in. I don't care if it gets us more impressions. I want a solution, and that's what we're trying to do in
I don't
back
want
channels right now.
impressions. I want a solution as well. And screaming into an echo chamber with everybody who just had their account either demonetized or their verification taken away isn't going to go anywhere. Let's have a conversation with him and see where this goes. I don't think that we should be stooping to their same level of silencing people and, oh, play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Okay, whatever. It's petty. Just
Well,
get
we
out.
got Owen Schroyer here. Owen, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, X Spaces is still gay. And you want to talk about petty? Laura, you just threatened to leave because Adrian left. Like, let's just focus on the
No, I threatened
conversation
to
here. No,
leave
here we go. See,
because
this is
people
why
want
X
to
Spaces
press the
sucks.
mute button. They want to
I've
press the mute
never.
button, and I
Here
think
we
it's
go.
obnoxious to text somebody and say, "Come to my space," and then to mute me. Don't
Here we
invite
go.
me and then mute me. It's that simple. Let me talk,
Yeah.
or else I leave.
Okay.
Oh,
See,
continue.
this is why X Spaces is obnoxious. You can rarely even ever have a productive conversation. So here's the deal. There's more people losing their check marks seemingly by the hour, and I don't think they were ever affiliated with us. And the one common factor, which is just easily observable because their tweets are still up, the one common factor is all of these people were critical of H-1B visas, foreign workers, or even specifically Elon Musk. Now, I'd quite frankly be shocked if Elon has anything to do with this. I'd like to think he has bigger issues to deal with, or he's too busy, or quite frankly, just doesn't care. So I feel like this doesn't have to do with Elon. I don't even want to comment on the Adrian Dittmann situation. That's like an anomaly wrapped. That's like an anomaly wrapped in a riddle. But here's the issue that I'm having, and most of the people I think in here, including Laura, knows it as good as anybody. We're kind of going through this acute PTSD of the censorship era, and we're all kind of sitting here like, whoa, is this platform that just gave me my voice back, a big following back, the impact of my work back, is it now beginning to censor people? Is it now beginning to pick and choose subjects to censor people over? And that's very concerning for people like Laura or myself who have been censored off every platform. And it has a major impact in your life and your ability to make a living and make a reach and have impactful work. And so it would appear, at least in the last, whenever this started happening a couple hours ago, it would appear that this is centric around the HB1 visa debate, but we don't know. And that's what's really so concerning about it, is we really don't have any answers. And I mean, obviously they hit our group, but you're saying that they haven't even given you an explanation for that?
No, I don't have any explanation. I didn't receive an email. I noticed that when I logged on to X, it said that first of all, I tried sending a larger tweet, and then it said you can't send it, and it said it was sending it to the drafts. And
Is
so
that
then,
because when you lose your account status, there's like limits on what you can
yeah,
send,
so
right?
unless you have a premium account, you're limited to how long your tweets can be.
Yeah,
And that's one of the
right.
main things that they say is a benefit of getting premium. They say you're going to be able to increase your character limit. And everybody
Do
knows
we know? Do we know, Laura? Did you get hit with this before anyone else?
yeah, I got hit with it first.
So
And
you
then,
were the first domino to fall, and then
yeah.
what? They hit the conservative group?
Yeah, so then I guess a few minutes later, 30 minutes later, people started noticing from their account that from the conservative account, that they were also getting de-verified or
Well,
unverified.
we said this was a shadow ban, Elon's new algorithm change with blocking people, etc. And we said this sounds like shadow ban, and within 30 seconds we got our
Oh.
blue check mark put under review, and everything like that happened.
But nobody, I didn't get any notification either. So nobody got any
No.
sort of information about what the cause is. Nobody.
No.
No, and then they sent out a false message to all of my subscribers, and they said, "Oh, Laura Loomer just deactivated her subscriptions." I absolutely did not deactivate my subscriptions. Why would I, as an independent journalist, intentionally deactivate my subscriptions when I have people that want to support my work on a monthly basis because, well, they find what I say to be useful?
So what do
Why
you
would I do
think?
that?
Okay, so what do you think the cause is, Laura? What do you believe it is?
Well, I think that Elon Musk is sensitive, and I understand everybody has feelings, and I think that he feels a sense of resentment towards people that are openly critical, because sometimes maybe he feels that he's not appreciated enough. And I think that we owe him gratitude for purchasing X, but two things can be true at the same time. You can purchase X and you can be the richest man in the world, and you can have people that express gratitude to you towards for purchasing X, and restoring their accounts. But also, with a lot of power and a lot of wealth comes this extra burden and responsibility to be able to accept constructive criticism and accountability. Okay, especially if you're going to be working in the Trump administration, as he is. So I think he got a little sensitive today and retaliated against people. I mean, I know so. He clearly tweeted it when he replied to Mario and said yes when Mario said, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." So his feelings are hurt. And I don't think he should be retaliating against people just because they called him out. Then he said I was a
But even
troll.
even if he wanted to, retaliate against you, I'm just trying to figure out why the group gets knocked out and then other dominoes have fallen as well. Do you think that was cooked into the? Because it tells
I
me
don't
that
know.
it's more than just Elon.
I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly not the only person. I started the conversation on H-1B visas, and my tweet about Saran went viral. And I think it was, I know it was justified and it was fair. I don't understand how it's targeted harassment. I mean, look, I can I can understand if Elon's taking it personally because he's friends with this guy. But I don't really care who's friends with who. I'm more focused on how this is going to be impacting us as American citizens with these people going to work in the Trump administration. So it is what it is. I mean, look, clearly he wants to retaliate and he wants to quote unquote teach me a lesson, whatever that means, because I poked the bear and criticized him. So it's unfortunate, right? I've been a supporter of encouraged people to get premium, and I've tried to practice my citizen journalism while still being banned on other sites, even though I was unjustly banned years ago for nonviolent political speech. But clearly, this is not a free speech platform if the owner of X is going to publicly say, like, fuck around, find out. Okay, yeah, great. So now nobody can criticize Elon, or else you're going to get your subscriptions taken away. That's nice. But
He's also
Well,
agreeing
I'm
with
again.
posts calling, sorry.
No, go ahead, Cassandra.
He's also agreeing with posts calling Americans retarded and stuff.
yeah.
Like,
Huh?
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's not right. It's demoralizing, and I think it's disrespectful, and like, it makes me wonder, is that what they feel about JD Vance? Look, JD Vance obviously now has a lot of ties and associations to big tech, but the whole movie Hillbilly Elegy in the book was written and produced about his upbringing, and he clearly talks about how he grew up in a very poor, what a lot of people would call, and I'm not condoning this terminology, but white trash, right? That's how he grew up. And what if that was the attitude towards everybody that was like a JD Vance, that grew up in poverty, that had family members that were addicted to drugs and maybe weren't considered to be the smartest people? Would we have a JD Vance right now as the vice president? How many more JD Vances are there out there in the world living in Appalachia who they just need somebody to give them a chance? They just need someone to give him the extra push, or give him the money for that calculator that he needed. If you watch that movie, right, when he couldn't afford the calculator and his grandmother paid for the calculator that he tried to steal from the store. Okay, how many people out there are like that, that are not foreigners? And yeah, maybe
Well,
we have
I don't
issues
look.
with our
I don't
educational
think.
system here in America, and we need to
Laura,
improve
Laura,
STEM.
Laura, Laura, Laura. I don't think that the audience here tonight needs to hear the arguments about why we feel the way we feel. I think what we really want to do is try to figure out what's happening here and how to course correct
It's
it.
pretty obvious what's happening. I agree with you. We're being
So
retaliated
so
against.
then I would say if I'm thinking about this practically, because again, I don't want to rush to any conclusions. I think that there's an obvious situation happening, but we don't want to rush to any conclusions until we get an actual answer, if we even get one. But what I'm afraid of, which would explain everything, is that whether it's Elon or whether it's anybody in the tech industry, or who's behind censoring you and then the rest of us, but there's billions of dollars at stake here. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really that's really the problem. There's billions of dollars at stake when you can hire foreign workers at half the price who will work double the hours. There's
Yeah.
billions of dollars at stake, and so they were losing the debate. People were really upset about it, and so they've either intentionally put a chilling effect on the conversation, or they're just outright starting the process of censoring people who go against the agenda. And so that's my concern. And I would say too, just from being through this, and I know you can relate to this too, Laura. Now I'm at a point where I don't honestly, right currently, I don't feel safe on this app. I've told everybody that's direct messaging me to stop. I've sent them other ways to communicate with me. I guarantee you this conversation is being monitored 100%.
Yeah.
And so this is, I don't know. I'm really concerned about this.
I'm concerned too.
I hope that there's a course correct by the end of the day tomorrow, and a real policy statement, and not just some, grumbling about a conversation not going your way. Because we're going to have to, I mean, quite frankly, we better start looking at alternatives if this is how it's going to be
Right.
fast.
I mean,
Well,
he
I
Elon.
also I also think it's really interesting how, I mean, look, the Adrian Dittmann character is still listening. Who knows if it's Elon? Some people have said, oh, this is Elon's alt account, regardless of whether it is or not. I think it's interesting how he said, "Oh, you were creating chaos." Elon Musk loves chaos. I mean, honestly, this guy loves chaos. He loves getting the liberal media riled up every single day. He loves, calling himself, or entertaining this joke of President Musk, even though it's starting to really not look like a joke. So it's kind of ironic that he's saying, oh, you were creating chaos on the platform. He loves chaos. His whole platform is based off of chaos going viral. That's how they monetize, is chaos going viral. He said so himself, where he talks about, oh, wow, it's amazing that all these conversations are happening on X. You are the media now. Well, if we're the media now, we should be able to have conversations. And if it leads to chaos, well, that's just a natural effect of people reacting to learning about our immigration system or learning about how American tech workers are getting ripped off. That's just the natural order of things. It's kind of disingenuous to say you're causing chaos. You either support citizen journalism and the avalanche of reactions that come with citizen journalism, or you don't. So
I
it is
mean,
what it is.
Yeah, Cassandra, do you have anything to
I'm
yeah.
sure
say?
he'll,
So
I'm sure he'll ban me.
the post that Elon just agreed with said, so basically the right split into two factions, tech right and right. And it's talking about the whole war between the two. And he wrote, that sums it up, which means he's acknowledging that it's the actual right versus the tech right. And the tech right are all liberals who jumped on the Trump train 5 minutes ago, threw some money at it so that they could influence it. And they're realizing that the people who are actually on the right aren't going along with it. The problem is that they are going to win because they own the platforms. They can read our DMs. They can, kind of what Owen was saying, how he doesn't feel safe on the platform. I think we're all pretty screwed unless we either get on alternative platforms or I don't
Like what?
really know.
There's
We're
nothing.
not going to
There's really
win.
nothing else. There's really nothing else. There's True Social.
There is something
So
that's kind of coming up I do want to mention here called Noster. It's an interesting protocol. It's built on Bitcoin. A lot of guys from that whole realm, like Marty Bent from Tales from the Crypto, are using it. It's basically making tweets the same as uncensorable Bitcoin transactions, essentially. So you can't be deplatformed. It doesn't matter what client you use. It's pretty interesting. It's NOSTR for anybody that's a tech head.
Well, I'm looking at Rumble as, with the current status on X, now the free speech platform to go to. And I know it's not the same format as X. Obviously, it's more for videos and uploading and live videos. But this is, I think we would all agree, this is much bigger than the payout discrepancies, which had its own issues. This is much bigger than some of the other policies that have turned a lot of X's content into clickbait and glitch bait. This is probably the most serious issue on X since Elon Musk purchased it. And I would say the first time, despite maybe limited cases of censorship, the first time where people are looking at this and feeling like this is a case of potential massive censorship. And we have to, and then, because here's what I want to know. What I want to know, and I think it should be answered for the sake of transparency, but I want to know what led to this process. What led to the process of Loomer being the first domino to fall, and then everyone in the group falling, and then since there have also been other individuals that have fallen as well. I'd like to know the process that led to that, because somebody made that decision. Somebody made that decision and clicked a button that said you're out. And that is a very dangerous precedent and a very dangerous practice.
Has Rumble considered making like a side-by-side application, something that is still Rumble but text-based? Because if not, somebody should suggest that to them.
Well, what about Gab?
I haven't been
The
on Gab
truth
in
Anyway,
is, look,
ages.
guys,
well,
the truth is we've been fighting this battle of censorship for almost 8 years, and it's almost impossible to win. Rumble is really like the only success story. If you look at every other alternative platform that's come up, it's barely made a blip on the radar. And I like Gab, and I really like Andrew Torba. He really believes in free speech, but Gab has been around for almost a decade, and it doesn't get near the traffic that any of these big platforms get.
Now, the reality is we're going to have to do our best to reform the situation we've got going on over
I will
here.
also say that
But
is somebody
obviously, after
talking?
a day like today, it's discouraging.
Well, so in terms of like what brought this entire thing to happen, I mean, basically from what happened was, from my perspective, is that Loomer was really going after the system, H-1B and all that. Elon Musk, gave her a name. He called her, a troll or whatever. She responded and said that's not true. She's speaking up for people who are conservative who don't want to have mass legal immigration, H-1B visa system, rampant abuse. And I believe within like 30 minutes or so, or an hour, the hit happened and Loomer lost her check mark and her subscribers. Then we all lost all of our check marks and all of that. But Loomer specifically is the only one, to my knowledge, who lost subscribers specifically, because I didn't have a notification at all, which is
Yeah,
weird.
but also they're not even letting me subscribe. So I was already subscribed to premium on my own. My bank statements clearly
Yeah.
show that I paid for premium on my own. So just because you have a badge or affiliated with a badge doesn't mean that they're paying for your premium. If you already pay for premium, it charges your own card. So I already was paying for premium. And now when I try to click, because it says get verified, it won't even allow me to try to get verified anymore because it won't even allow me to buy premium. So now I'm stuck in the most basic form of Twitter, even though I'm trying to purchase. I don't even know why I have to purchase it. I've already purchased it and it charged my card for this month. So it's clearly an attempt to, prevent me from being able to express myself freely because I'm not even allowed to participate in premium like everybody else is if they're willing to pay for the service. So, not allowed to monetize my account, not even allowed to pay for the enhanced service of being able to utilize Grok and have an extended character count. So, I really don't understand what the big deal is. I'm focused on a policy that President Trump is on video saying that he wants to eradicate. I posted the video like 20 times today on my Twitter account. This is not us coming up with a policy and trying to push President Trump to be more right wing or to be more conservative. This is something that he promised his base in 2016. And I'm just reminding everybody that the big tech bros aren't aware of what the original MAGA immigration policies are because, well, they really haven't been Trump supporters for more than a year. They haven't been Trump supporters for more than 4 months. And it's not
Yeah.
confrontational to point out the facts like I did today. Elon Musk supported Ron DeSantis. We all remember that god awful Twitter space, the worst fucking Twitter space ever, failure to launch. Okay, that's what they call it. When Elon and David Sachs hosted Ron DeSantis's campaign kickoff, right? So he supported him. Then he's tweeted nonstop that like Trump was too old, that he could never stand Trump's personality. Then he went after people like Steve Bannon and other people that were considered to be Trump loyalists. And then all of a sudden, the day after Trump got shot in the head, he's like, "Oh, I'm endorsing Trump." Well, that's great. I mean, yeah, obviously everyone looked like an idiot if they didn't endorse Trump right after he almost took a bullet to his head for all of us when a crazed assassin showed up in Butler, Pennsylvania. But
Yeah.
are you really the best and brightest? Again, I'm going to ask this question. Are you really the best and brightest if it took you over 8 years to realize that Donald Trump was not the problem? Are you really the best and brightest if you couldn't realize that the 2020 election was stolen, or that the Democrats were lying when they said that the border was secure, or that the Democrats were lying when they said there was Russia collusion, or that the Democrats were lying when they said that they didn't collude with big tech and the FBI to censor our elections and shut down our voices and poison everybody with COVID-19 propaganda. So, it seems like these people just want to walk in. There must have been some memo that was sent out because every single tech bro is walking into Mar-a-Lago with a $1 million check and having their dinner with Trump, and they think that they're just immune from accountability. They're just buying their way onto the Trump inaugural committee. And
It's economic opportunism is
yeah,
what it is.
it's
It's
just
them
economic
wanting money.
opportunism. So
Yeah.
I don't understand what I'm being punished for. And then it's so funny they try to gaslight you and say, "Oh, so do you really actually care about free speech, or do you care about being monetized?" Well, if we're promoting X as a platform to be used by citizen journalists, and you're trying to say, "Oh, come over to X instead of these other sites
Right.
because we're better," well, why should I feel shame in wanting to be monetized and wanting to have subscriptions and be able to have a verified account if I'm a journalist? I
Right.
went to school for journalism. I have a degree in broadcast communication and political science. I was valedictorian of my class. I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. So why am I supposed to be shamed all of a sudden into being like, "Oh, well, you're a grifter if you want to monetize your account"? That's what Elon Musk said monetize your account. It's premium. You can be a citizen journalist on X. So now I'm being shamed and called a troll or having my intentions for wanting to be on the platform questioned simply because I want to be able to pursue my degree that I paid for.
Right. Eric, we got Eric in here, Eric Finman. Do you have anything to say?
Hey, yeah, thank you so much. And it's been horrible to see, people just lose monetization. It is absolutely insane. And I think, as Laura said, both things can be true. Trump or Elon spent $44 billion on, buying Twitter, to making it X and making it about free speech in many ways. Also, and then at the same time, it's there are these guardrails, and that's a nice way to put it. I even think Owen did a video a little bit ago or a bit ago where clearly monetization. There's favorites in the monetization game, which everyone knows. But I think ultimately, life is unfair, and we live in an unfair world. And I think what is very clear, unfortunately, but also clarity is good, that you can pretty much talk about anything. I think even including criticizing H-1B visas, but you can't come at the king, and that's unfortunate. And I think that is some clarity tonight, and I wish that wasn't the case, but clearly it is.
You can't
So
come at the king. This isn't a fucking goddamn monarchy, okay? It's a
it is though.
constitutional
It is
republic.
though.
No.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I
I
Well,
think
think
I
this
I
think
is
I
think
think that that's
bullshit.
look. I think that we have to take everything in fairness here, and that's just a true statement. I think that that's a true statement. But if this is an issue of you know, Laura taking one to the chin from the king, not like that's something unfamiliar to her. Now we're talking, however, about other people being punished for Laura's behavior. If that's what's going on here, and if we're willing to sacrifice that, okay, that's the likely scenario.
I
Well,
don't think so. I don't think it had. I mean, I disagree. I mean, maybe you've seen it better than I have. I don't think just. I've seen other people. I don't think Laura was like just the person. Everyone else got banned because of Laura. I do think it was the larger H-1B thing, and a lot
Yeah.
of people in the conservative network, just talking about the H-1B, like even outside the conservative OG network. I don't think it was Laura at all, causing all these kind of cascading effect. Other than maybe, yeah, just a lot of people talking about the H-1B issue. And then, yeah, other people outside the conservative OG network and outside of Laura Loomer's, I guess, network of world, people suffered the same thing. So I don't think it was Laura at all, but maybe you have more information than me.
well, I think that I can't. Again, I don't want to assume anything. I just have to observe and report what I've seen, and that's that Laura was the first domino to fall. Laura's affiliated group was the second domino to fall. But yes, there have been others that have fallen since then. That I mean, I don't think they have any direct relationship or affiliation with Laura, other than we were all critical of the
Yeah.
H-1B visa program.
And pretty that is, I don't know who it was either. Obviously, it seems like it was maybe Laura since she has the biggest reach and it happened to her first, but we don't know. And that is true. Most of our affiliates were talking about this HB1 thing. Most of our affiliates were talking about these god awful, Indian folks that they're putting in charge of AI policy and whatnot. So who knows whether it was something that culminated.
Wow.
To me,
I
it doesn't
just
matter.
I just got a notification from Twitter that they're deleting my post about Saram, and they're also limiting my account for 12 hours. So I can't post it because
Terrible.
they
That's
just limited
terrible. I'm
my
sorry.
account. But yeah,
Oh
they're
my
limiting my
gosh.
account. So
The
it's
thing is,
just
it's
so
weird. It's
crazy.
weird though. We had an influencer today, Braden Sorbo, Kevin Sorbo's son, who had his account suspended for a certain amount of time, and it didn't have any effect on the rest of the affiliates. So I just don't know how that theory jives with what we're going through right
Hey,
now.
Laura, I don't want to give you any ideas here, okay? But I will just say, very noble of you not to even mention that you're Jewish or that this is an anti-Semitic attack on you. Very, very strong and noteworthy.
Yeah, well, They don't give a shit. Like, they don't care. I've learned that a long time ago that if you're not the right type of Jew, they don't give a
Yeah,
fuck if you're Jewish. So,
indeed.
like they don't care. I watch them try to erase my Jewishness. Like, you want to talk about that? When I ran for Congress, when I was the
Have you asked for
I was
support from Ben Shapiro?
he doesn't care about me. He cares about himself. So I
I'm
watched them.
surprised Laura Loomer
I
is
watched
Jewish,
them try
honestly.
to erase my Jewishness when I ran for Congress, and the headlines were "Far Right Activist Runs Against Jewish Democrat Congresswoman." Like, we weren't both Jewish, right? So,
We're all Jewish tonight.
it's just really interesting to me how you're not allowed to criticize anybody who's going into the Trump administration if they have conflicting views, or they've done things or said things, or they share positions that are not in alignment with Trump and his base. So I can't post it because I literally just got suspended for 12 hours. So I'll have to text the screenshot to one of you. But yeah, they literally just made me delete my tweet. Well, I guess they just deleted it anyway. They said that I was sharing personal information, even though the screenshot that I posted clearly X'd out all of the addresses and the personal information on
Did
the
you get a screenshot of the notification that they sent
Yeah,
you?
I have all the screenshots. I just took screenshots, but I can't post it because I'm blocked for 12 hours now. So
Do you want to send that to me? I'll post it.
yeah, I'll send it to you. But it's fucked up. Like, I have fought for President Trump harder than most. I've been a loyal soldier to President Trump. And look, even now, I got fucked over. I mean, look at how I've been treated ever since I traveled with the president to the debate. I was invited by President Trump to travel as his personal guest to the debate. And then I was demonized they said I'm the reason why President Trump said that migrants are eating people's pets, even though JD Vance said the same fucking thing. So it's so funny. I'm just fighting for the American people and fighting against mass migration and fighting against this abuse of the American tech worker. And I've just been completely shit on and demonized, It's totally unfair. And
Yeah,
I think
Laura.
it's a testament to how MAGA is going to be treated in this administration if big tech is allowed to just walk into Mar-a-Lago and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laura, send me a text of that screenshot. I'll post that for you. And I'm not going to go into my rap sheet, but I completely understand where you're coming from. I didn't go through everything just to get Trump into office. I've gone through everything for the American people. Even the liberals that hate my guts, I want them to have a free, prosperous life too. But send me that screenshot so I can post that so people know what's going on.
Well,
Because
Adrian
this is actually
Dittmann
next level. Because this tells me that there's an ongoing conversation about your account and likely what to do with the others as well. Like, this is an ongoing thing happening right now at X.
Yeah. Owen, Adrian Dittmann's requesting to join. I mean, leave it up to you guys. Y'all wanna have the conversation with him?
I think he should be up here.
I don't care. It's your space, dude.
Yeah, I want to bring him up because a couple points I want because
That's fine. Let him up. But
because-
also, I'm letting you know, I'm sending you the screenshots right now, Owen, but they're lying. Twitter should be held accountable for lying and saying that, one, I deactivated my own subscribers, and two, I didn't share personal information. It's a public FEC.
So you just literally admitted to harassing this dude because he was Indian. This is literally what just was revealed
All
here.
right, hey Laura, just send me that screenshot and send me your statement.
We just received a notification. That's exactly what you just fucking said.
Indian? Where did I
That's
say
exactly what just fucking been stated.
That's not what I just said. What are you talking about?
No, you were reciting what was appearing on your phone apparently as a notification, and that was the reason for why your account was supposedly locked or muted for 12 hours.
It's not true. It's not true
No,
because
you literally harassed the dude for no reason.
I didn't harass
just
him.
because he's Indian. That's literally what you did.
No, I didn't. They can say whatever they want to say. It's not true.
No, that's basically what you did. You have a problem with this one guy who's a politician, not because of his policies, but specifically because of his race.
He's not a politician. He's a tech advisor who's now going to be working with David Sachs in the Trump administration. He's not a politician.
Well, if you work in the administration, do you not somewhat deal with things that are political in
You
nature
are,
and
but
thereby
he's
become
not.
a politician by
He's not
execution?
somebody who we elected. A politician is somebody who runs for office, who's elected. I mean, these are unelected bureaucrats.
What?
Yes. I
Oh
don't.
my
Maybe we have a
God.
different
Do
understanding
you have
of
any
what.
idea how ridiculous all of this sounds, right?
No, I consider
Do
a
you know? Oh my
I
God.
consider a politician to be somebody who runs for office, and they either are elected or they're not elected. But he didn't run for office, so he was appointed to a
You know, if he's not a
position
politician, then why are you targeting him as much?
because I'm concerned about the people that are going to be advising on policy in the Trump administration.
You're
It's that
concerned about his
simple.
race?
No,
Then why
okay.
specifically
So
were you mentioning his race more than anything else?
I wasn't. I was highlighting the fact that he's an Indian immigrant
That's
maybe
exactly what that
clouds
is.
his.
you have to let her finish the
No,
point, Adrian. You have to let her finish the point.
it clouds his judgment
This
on
is
this
what you call an
issue.
admission?
No, it's
To be
about
fair, by the way,
perspective.
to be fair,
Let's let people speak. Let's not talk over people.
I am letting him speak. I'm the one
I'm
that said he
talking
should
to
come back.
Adrian, Laura. I'm talking to Adrian.
So, but wait a
so you're
second. But
talking
wait a
out
second.
of your ass?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So what is the precedent that we're talking about here? You can't be critical of somebody because you're concerned that their nationality might
You can't be
influence policy.
racist. You
If
can't be
someone's from
racist. Their nationality is American.
Russia, it should be, you should be able to talk about that. If someone's from a particular country, a particular I'm a dual citizen with the UK. I absolutely have loyalties to the UK. I lived there for many years. I have family there. I think these are open things to talk about if someone's working in a very powerful position in government.
So the point that Loomer was making specifically was that this the point that she's making was that the post that was claimed that was a harassment was not harassment and that wasn't on racial grounds. That was what Loomer was talking about initially before Adrian responded and asked whether it was racial or not. Is that correct, Loomer? Is that a correct assessment of what happened?
Sorry, it cut out. If you could just repeat
Yeah,
that because it
so
was glitchy.
you brought up that you got a notification about a post for harassment, and then you said one, it wasn't harassment, and two, it wasn't racial or anything like that. It was
No,
specifically,
I was answering Owen's question
yeah.
because Owen asked me. He said, "Did you get like a notification right now when it said you're suspended for 12 hours?" And I said, "Yes." So I was pulling it up because I'm texting it to him right now, and I'll read it to you. It says, let me pull it up. It says, we have temporarily limited some of your account features. We determined that you violated X rules, so we've temporarily limited your account features. While in this state, you can still browse X, but you're limited to only sending direct messages to your followers. No post, repost, follows, or likes. Your account will be restored to its functionality in 11 hours, 59 minutes. And then there was another one for another screen that said, what happened? Well, it says, we've determined that this account has violated the X rules. For one, violating our rules against posting private information. So I posted an FEC report, and the FEC report was blurred out. And I specifically blurred out the address because, not that I needed to, because it's a public document and it's citizen journalism, but because I didn't want to be accused of posting private information. So the screenshot clearly shows that it's blurred out with a gray blurb. I mean, I edited it and made sure that it was covered. So I don't understand how they can say that I posted people's private information. I don't know if other people posted the same screenshot and left the personal information on, but you can go back and look at my post if Twitter hasn't already deleted it, and you can see for yourself. Or I'm happy to send you.
So
I
wait,
have the screenshot
Laura,
of my.
are you clear then on what it was they're claiming you did? Are you
Yeah,
now clear?
they're saying that I just read it to you. They said violating rules against posting private information. They didn't say that's the reason why they took away my check mark or took away my subscription.
So they're not claiming, or is that part of the harassment? Is that part of
They
harassment?
didn't say I harassed anyone. Adrian Dittmann put those words in my mouth because he wanted to keep
You
it
literally
anonymous.
said those exact words.
I said that they're accusing me of violating rules against posting private information. And then you previously, before you left the conversation,
No.
said that I
No.
harassed.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said. In response to the notification, the
I'm
harassment thing
reading you
literally fucking
exactly.
came up.
I'm reading
That
you
is exactly
exactly
what
what
you
they
said.
said.
So wait, is
I'm
this
reading
space
it word
recorded?
for
Because
word.
somebody can just pull the
Yeah,
audio
it's
if this
recorded.
space is
So
recorded.
okay,
I'm reading
Yeah,
it word.
it is
I'm
recorded,
reading it.
100%. You can run it back.
okay,
I'm
then someone
reading
can do
it
that.
word for
But
word.
let's just have a conversation in good faith or whatever. So the point that X was trying to get you for was
But listen,
yeah.
if you go back and you listen to this space, you will hear Adrian say, "Oh, you were target harassing Saram," and I said
It's
no.
harassing, not harassing. What the fuck?
I didn't say harassing. I said harassing.
Okay,
So literally
okay.
what you
So
just did, though.
the
And
okay,
it's funny that you like deny the things that you've said. This is like very dangerous and very damaging to your reputation and anyone else who is a citizen
You can
journalist.
go listen to the audio. I'm reading you
Okay.
word for word what it says,
So
and
You
I'm
do
happy to
realize
send
that I'm
it
like
to Owen.
basically in parallel hosting a space where there's like almost 1,000 people listening to the same shit right now and are basically having a fucking humor meltdown laughing about this shit, right?
okay, cool. Can we get back to like just actual points
They're
here?
happy. If my account were to not be frozen for 12 hours, I could post the screenshot and everybody could see for themselves. I'm reading it, but you keep interrupting.
You know, it's a thing. You know that this what you've just said was you can DM someone the screenshot, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna send them the DM, and I'm gonna send it to them right now. But I would like to be able to post it myself. I don't want to have other people speaking for me.
Well, then I don't know. Maybe you should be violating terms of service.
I'm not violating terms of service. I just read to you what it said, and it said that I
If we're
posted
gonna
private
just try being
information.
like having a dialogue,
But
I agree with you,
I'm
Loomer.
telling you, I didn't post
I like drink
personal
zero
information.
alcohol, but this is really selling me on the idea.
But wait a
So
second. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's wait a second though. Wait a second. Let's say she violated the terms of just for sake of conversation.
But I
Let's say
didn't. Stop
Laura,
gaslighting
hold on,
people.
hold
Dude,
on.
you have to be
Let's
like
just
so close to the
just hold
microphone. You
on.
sound like you're yelling all of your words.
For the sake of this conversation, let's say that Laura violated a terms of service that results in what she now has a 12-hour lock on her account. We've never before, at least I've never heard of, this seems to be a new phenomenon of somebody losing their badge and their verification and then other people affiliated with her having the same punishment. That seems to be a new phenomenon.
But okay, so yeah, that's true. But the point again is that like this whole quote violation was specifically for private information, and I believe that you said that you blurred the FEC report, and I think in that post you mentioned that in case they try getting me, I blurred it out or whatever. Is that accurate, Laura?
Yeah, I clearly
Okay.
said that I blurred the address, even though I technically didn't need to because it's a public document. But
Right. So that's the whole point. So you at least from what your message is saying, that it was about private information. It was an FEC report, which is public.
yeah, it didn't say targeted harassment. It
Right.
said, I'll send it to you right now, and then you can post it if you want.
I'll wait for you
Okay,
to
but
post that. I'll get
here's
back.
the issue though. Here's the
Yeah.
issue that we have to address. There are multiple people in this space right now who got censored this evening that didn't violate any terms of service and are seemingly being punished for either an opinion or being affiliated with Laura. We do not know. And so that is the larger issue that we need to figure out, and we're not getting any answers on. So even if
All
you
right,
want to
now
say,
I can't send it because it says clearly in the message that you're allowed to send DMs if your account's restricted, but they must be making an exception for me because now I can't even send you a DM. So I'm gonna have to text it to you, Owen, because I don't have Chief's numbers. So
all
it's
right, well, you
clearly
can
an
just text
effort to
me.
just target me.
You can text me whatever you want.
I just sent it.
I
I
posted
just sent
your
it to you.
I posted your locked out notification. But I'm saying, even for the sake of this conversation, if we're willing to sacrifice that Laura violated a term of service and so therefore she's being punished, there's a larger punishment happening that's either for being affiliated with Laura or because you had a critical opinion of H-1B visas. And so this is the big question of the night. And we can focus on Laura, and that's fine. She deals with censorship all the time, but I think we're more concerned about censorship on X being the larger problem here. And I think that there's an undeniable phenomenon that we've witnessed in the last, say, 5 hours of what appears to be the next level of censorship on X.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's worth having a discussion about why first of all, an incorrect label or an incorrect like reason for lockout for 12 hours warrants not only a loss of subscribers, but a across-the-board knock on Owen, Cassandra, and all the people in conservative OG with their check mark. It's a cross-platform issue with that, but specifically with Loomer, it is very targeted towards her. And the post that she's talking about, I believe I saw it, and she did specifically say in that post, in case they try getting me or something, I blurted out. Meaning that she took the care to censor, or not, basically try hiding out personal details like that to avoid being tagged, like basically what just happened, I guess. So,
It just
it's unique.
sounds very personal because he's friends with him. He can there's I get doxxed all the time. If you go and you look online, there were so many Indian accounts today posting my personal cell phone number, and of course, none of those people are getting shut down or silenced. And I can name countless accounts that have spread false information about me and targeted me and harassed me and doxed me and said malicious, false, defamatory things about me, and I reported them. And there are even people who work at Twitter, I'm not going to say who because, I'm not going to disclose their identity, who have even told me that they suspect that some of the accounts that have targeted me and doxed me are protected accounts because they have not been taken down, even though from their own professional opinion and their own training at X, the posts clearly violate terms of service. So it just seems to be selective outrage. And okay, well, if you find my post to be a problem, like why can't there be a process where they review the post and then you can put in a petition or a review for why you think the post is not a violation of terms of service? Why do we have to escalate it to silencing people and taking away their subscriptions and taking away their verification? It's so over the top. Maybe Adrian can reply.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, Adrian, you heard from the description of the problem that Loomer had, where she had a post that was dinged for privacy or basically, posting personal information or whatever, which was involving an FEC report, which she blurred out, and in that post mentioned that she tried to avoid any sort of issue with TOS, which is why she blurred
Can you
out the
show me the
identifier.
posts in question? Because normally when you are doing anything and one of the posts is found to be a violation of any kind, they actually send you an email with the post in question. Can you send us these posts?
I can't because they just limited my account. So if you
No,
can
no.
try to,
In an email, they tell you what has happened,
I have not received an
why it has
email.
happened,
I
and
said that
show
earlier.
you.
Okay, so Owen,
I didn't receive an email.
Okay, so Owen, did you receive the any sort of information from Loomer about
Yeah, I
about
posted
Just get
I
more
posted
convoluted by the minute.
I posted the notifications that she was sent, but it does not include the tweet or the post rather in question.
Yeah, because I did not receive an email.
Okay, so you can look at Owen's account, and I'll let me look through here. I'm looking at this the first time here. So it says temporary limits on your account features, and it says delete the content that violates our rules one post. So if I'm correct, the post you're mentioning is that FEC report, because I remember seeing on my timeline, glancing or whatever, like a couple
Yeah.
hours or so ago. So it was an FEC report that had blurred out bars or personal information, and you mentioned in said post that you did that to avoid being knocked by the TOS, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. So I know the post you're talking about. I saw on my timeline. That's the whole, that was the entire thing. She didn't say lives at XYZ or whatever. She made it clear in that post
No.
she wanted to avoid being hit with TOS.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to get
Right.
anybody hurt or send anybody to anyone's house. I just want there to be a conversation, an honest conversation about immigration and the Trump administration.
Right.
I'm not trying to send anybody to anyone's home. I was very conscious about blurring the address.
Okay. Right. So that's where we're at right now. That's the information we have. So
And I do not hate Indians. I've actually tweeted publicly that, well, prior to all of this and, prior to Vivek's comments today and yesterday, I had actually tweeted publicly that I thought Vivek was a great communicator and that in the future, if he were to run for president, that I would have supported him. So I clearly don't agree with what he said today, but to say that I hate Indians or to say that I targeted this guy or I even posted my original tweet about him because he's Indian is just not true. I think that we need to have a conversation about the disproportionate number of Indian and also Chinese H-1B visa recipients, but I don't hate Indian people.
Right. Okay. So
But
that
Adrian said I do, and
okay.
perhaps
Wait, what did I say
you're
specifically?
you said that
Hold up a second. What did I say?
you said earlier that I don't like Saran because he's Indian, or I targeted him because he's Indian, and I don't
That
think
was the
that.
nature of your posts, and you blurted
But
that out as being
but
somehow part of the notification.
I just said to you that I have a concern about the disproportionate amount of Indian immigrants that are receiving H-1B visas.
And why would you have a concern about this in reference to this guy specifically, given that he has nothing to do with immigration?
Because I have a problem with his previous comments on H-1B visas that I posted screenshots.
No, why would you have a problem with him? That's not a thing that he's going to deal with. That's not a thing he's going to deal with in official capacity. He's going to deal with the exact opposite of that.
Because I look at what people have said. I do this. I'm known for this. Okay. If you
what specifically about the H1? What specifically did he say that ticked you off so much?
I posted a couple screenshots of it. I have to pull them up. I literally cannot access my tweets right now because I'm locked out of.
But you can't remember what pissed you off to the post that you made it to the point that you made a post.
On my phone. Let me pull them up right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read them. I want to be specific.
The critiques that are around,
quoting the tweet word for word.
Hold on, I'll pull.
Yeah, why would you single this guy out specifically just because you want to address the visa thing?
Because
maybe you want to address someone who actually is in an official capacity there?
I've been commenting on all of the Trump appointments and all of the nominees, especially people who are coming from Silicon Valley.
Yeah, so
What's your problem with people who come from Silicon Valley?
Well, if you want me to be completely honest with you, I'm very skeptical of Silicon Valley and people who have worked in Silicon Valley and associated with career leftists, as I call them, because of the way that they have discriminated against conservatives and Trump supporters.
Associated with them how?
They work with them. They
Chief, can I?
They're on podcasts with them.
Worked with them how? As in,
Chief,
because
can I just jump in here
does this
really
mean that
quick?
does this mean that therefore, if I was here on X before its acquisition that actually turned into X, that I was somehow in cahoots with a leftist because I had an account on a fucking what was basically back then a leftist platform?
Well,
because that's the same logic.
If you're Elon Musk and you're not just somebody trolling and pretending to be
I'm
Elon
not
Musk.
fucking Elon Musk. Get this in your head. You are supposedly a journalist.
I never said
How
you
do you
are.
not get
I
this?
said if you are. I'm not saying
If you are, there's no if here. There's no even the idea of even putting this in the conversation at all is completely uncalled for and just completely nonsensical.
To be clear that you want people to think you're Elon.
Adrian,
How is
it's not
this
Elon Musk.
how is this like
Chief,
the only
could I
thing that's
just
actually
please comment?
somewhat
Can I just please
it's something that we're still contesting?
I'd like to address Adrian.
Okay,
I was answering the
Laura,
question. I think that
again, like I said, I clarified when I joined the conversation here that I'm a professional chain yanker in this specific, context.
Laura, I think that listen.
One at a time. Can we let Loomer finish? Then we'll go back to the one after. I want Loomer to finish first. Loomer,
their voting history. I think that you can learn a lot from somebody's voting history and also their donation history and the statements that they've made about politicians in the past.
I'm sorry, you are not able. It's illegal to change your mind.
Well, I think we should be extra skeptical of people who come from Silicon Valley who just recently, I mean, look, he made donations to Ro Khanna, a Democrat congressman who's on video calling for mass condemnation of President Trump and calling on members of Congress to support the impeachment. He just donated to him less than a month before the election. You can check the FEC records. He gave $6,600 in donations from 2023 to 2024 to Ro Khanna. So he hasn't really changed his mind if he's been donating to Democrat politicians who want Trump to be impeached.
How are you even sure that this is the right guy?
Because I checked the address verification.
The congressman said so, and the receipts
up
there.
And the congressman admitted it. So I'm not being unreasonable here. The congressman admitted it.
And there, to be clear, there should be skepticism or at least a keen eye.
Okay, so you're skeptic of this individual because of their donation history. You're just sounding like the same type of people that tried to cancel fucking Palmer Luckey.
No, I'm not.
This is the exact shit.
Okay, no, I'm not.
But that's a straw man, though. Wait.
No, it is not. This is the inverse. It's like on the other side of the same point.
But it's not
of like what happened to Palmer Luckey.
We
did a bunch of donations. We should probably
we're talking about staffing a Trump administration, and so I'm not going to have an issue with somebody going in the Trump admin if they donated to Donald Trump. If they
Here's a quick
donated
question: Why
to
why does this politics matter when you're supposed to just do things in the space of AI?
because
Like, why does this matter?
because why should people who have, voted for Democrats and people who have contributed
Sorry.
money to Democrat politicians that supported the impeachment and indictment of the guy that we got elected against all odds be rewarded with a position in the Trump administration when there are Trump loyalists who have actually supported President Trump?
All I'm hearing is just a bunch of jealousy and bark with no teeth.
Okay. Well,
That's
you
all I'm
asked me a
hearing.
question. You don't really want to hear my answer. So why ask me a question if you don't want to listen?
I'm literally listening to your answer right now, and my brain is
You
hurting from the strange
made up
cognitive
your
dissonance that it
mind. You don't
creates.
want to
I don't even
listen.
know how
You're
you live in
like
your
all
own
these
skin.
guys in Silicon Valley that think you know best because you're the best and brightest, and I'm just a fucking peasant, right? I'm just a
I
low
just want to
Straight
IQ. I'm a
say
jealousy.
low IQ
it's
peasant.
not jealousy,
Not.
it's
Okay, all right. You know
disgust.
what?
So wait,
Hey,
wait,
The
Chief,
wait.
You
best of
I'm gonna
asked
start
rights.
me.
Oh
talking.
my
You
god.
asked me.
Chief,
You
mute
asked me a
me if this is a
question.
problem, but
I
I'm just gonna
answered.
fucking talk because this
Okay.
is insane. Listen, Adrian, the reason why we're concerned about the influence of Silicon Valley is because a lot of them get their thought and ideology from a guy named Curtis Yarvin, who believes that the world and countries should be ran like corporations. I'm sorry, but the United States is not a corporation. It is a specific group of people that came here, colonized it, developed it, and created this beautiful country that you want to call home and that so many other immigrants want to call home. I'm talking about the Indians. They have no home because their home is full of shit because it's 500 million,
That's a
1.5
very
billion
racist
people.
take,
Hang on,
motherfucker. Like,
Adrian. Hang
god
on a second. I've
damn.
been listening to you guys talk back and forth. It's 1.5 billion people living on top of each other. Of
Wow.
course, they want to send their quote unquote best and the brightest. But the question I have for you and every other person who is advocating for this H-1B visa bullshit is why can't you teach Americans to do the exact same thing that these Indians are doing? What is the culture not good enough? Are the people not good enough? Is the IQ not high enough? Well, then, you know what? Quite honestly, don't give up on the American people to sell them out to foreign influence. Shut the fuck up. Leave it alone. Yes, and I'm doing it because it's Indian people, because they're stinky and they're fucking gross. And I'll do it because they're Africans, because they can't even figure out how to build a bridge across a fucking river. And I'll do it because they're fucking wherever the hell, in fucking Turkey or whatever. I don't give a shit. The thing is,
So you
this
just
country,
admitted
and
to this.
Adrian, one more
Wow.
point. Adrian, one more point. This country was founded by white European civilization and culture, and that's what makes it beautiful, and that's what made it strong, and that's what made it intelligent. You could say, well, the Asians have higher IQs, but you know what? The Asians built their society, and they built a great one, and I would like a place that is for my people, by my people, and if there's some
And
blacks there,
what have
fantastic.
you specifically contributed to this long founding legacy, sir?
Wait, ask that again. Ask the
Like, what
start
have
of
you
it.
specifically contributed to the great country? Like, what have you specifically contributed that you
Well,
believe that you
I've
somehow
started
have the
3
right to call
businesses,
other
Adrian. I
people
sold my
various
first
weird
one.
names
Adrian,
based
I
on their
started my
race?
first business when I was 16. It was a media company, and I sold it for $52,000. I employed 3 people, and right now I do something else that I'm not going to get into. And I've done
Would you
other.
like happen to be
I've
running like
created
a
other
clan of some
businesses that
kind
have
by
done
any
very
chance?
well.
Because really,
So, explain to me. Go ahead. What have you contributed to this country, Adrian?
which country in particular?
This
In form of
country, the
taxes,
United
quite a
States,
decent
the
amount.
only country
Yes.
that quite frankly
In
matters.
terms of taxes, actually quite a fair amount. I'd imagine I've
No,
contributed a fair amount, probably more than you
not
and your entire
taxes, because we
bloodline
all know
have.
that taxes are bullshit. Taxes are ways that they control us. None of the money fucking matters. Let me
They
ask you
are
something.
a
What have
thing that
you
you are supposed to
contributed,
pay that maintain
Adrian?
various
What
pieces
have
of
no,
infrastructure,
you're not going to walk
and
away from
the,
this because I answered you.
inefficient spending,
You're
which
not
is the only
you're not
problem.
gonna walk
But
away because
realistically
I
speaking, taxes
answered
are a good
you,
thing.
Adrian. I answered you, so now you're going to answer me. What have
My
you
God,
contributed to the United States of America?
I have literally just stated to you exactly what I have contributed, but your inability to receive
I
this makes
haven't
me
seen
believe
it.
that
I
you are
haven't heard
perhaps
it.
a retard.
I haven't heard it. What did you contribute? What have you built here?
Taxes, sir. Specifically taxes.
Okay, well, taxes is retarded.
Is that enough? Is that enough? Is that a problem? Do you have a problem with people paying taxes?
No, taxes
Like
is
contributing to the
taxes is
maintenance
just
of the
another way for
infrastructure
the
that
country to
you
control you,
use without
Adrian.
actually understanding what
You
it's all
don't
for?
really care, and none of you people do. None of you
How do
people
I
with
not
this
care?
train of
I mean,
thought
I am
don't
to an extent
care. You
you're
say you
correct. I don't
contribute
care about your strange ass
taxes,
opinion. You're
but
fucking
everyone
racist. That's all I know,
contributes
man.
taxes, and we all know that we're nickel and
My dude,
dimed by the
you are the
IRS. We're
reason.
controlled by the
You are the
IRS.
reason why
You're full of
specific
shit.
political
You're full
opinions
of
are looked
shit.
upon
Fuck
as something
you.
that's
You're
racist. You
full
are
shit.
literally the
You don't
fucking
know what
case
you're
study.
talking
You
about.
are the evidence.
You don't know what you're
Like,
talking
seriously,
about.
you come in and the first thing you do is you just insult a bunch of people based on their fucking skin color.
Well, yeah,
That's what you
okay,
do.
go ahead. Oh, no, I didn't do that, but go ahead. Explain to me how I
And
did
what have
it.
you done? All
Explain
you've
to
done
me
is like
how I
create some sort of
insulted
business
people
that
based
nobody's
on their
fucking heard
skin
about.
color.
Like
I
grade one.
described their
And like, what is
countries,
this
Adrian.
actually? Let's take a look at.
Okay. I mean, this is going nowhere. Jordan Daly
I
says
just
that
want
he
to have
has.
I want to know.
Hang on. I mean it. Jordan Daly says he has some information that can shed some light on Loomer's situation specifically. So, Jordan, tell us.
Hang on, could I just say one more thing, Adrian? I served in the military as well, so that's another thing that I contributed to my
Adrian! Oh my God, Adrian! I served in the fucking military.
Good God. Jordan, have you got anything?
Yeah.
Good God.
Nobody,
Oh my
nobody can
God.
hear you. The acoustics are awful. Please.
This is insane.
Preach to the choir here, my man.
Oh my.
I just love how this guy's like basically saying since he went to the military, he deserves to be racist. I think it's kind of funny.
How is that
I think it's also
racist?
kind of
How is
stupid.
caring about one's the fabric of the country racist?
Contributions to the military. Boom, exactly.
You're like echoing really bad.
The black guys that contributed to the military.
Is that like an Indian? Are you wait a minute, what is that? Are you like listening to Indians talking to you?
Nope, that is actually my very good friend from a very close place.
Oh, interesting.
It's my brother in arms. I love him very much. He's a good man.
Hey guys, clip that.
Yeah, we're on a
Clip
show.
what
You're
you
on a
just
show right
heard.
now.
Clip
Actually,
what you
as a
just
matter of
heard,
fact.
because I know you just heard it. Clip that.
Well, yeah.
You're such a fucking
Yeah,
loser.
yeah.
All
Wait
of
a
you
second.
people are
Hey,
losers.
let me while Jordan gets reconnected, since Adrian has officially embraced the role of the antagonist here.
Yeah.
I just want to get let's get I just want to kind of get some
professional chain yanker was as close as we got, but apparently that wasn't clear enough.
Well, no. I just want to talk to you about censorship. I don't want to.
I thought I was the smooth brained one. Holy shit, man! My brain is so fucking smooth. It's aerodynamically perfect to the point that every insult that you throw at me just fucking slips off the other.
That's very true because you can't understand them.
So do you?
Oh no, I can understand. It's just I just love stuff slipping off of my extremely smooth brain. I just love it so much. It's an amazing feeling.
All right. Jordan's back. Let's hear from him.
So, Laura, I got one question for you, and only one that determines.
That was a glitch. I didn't do that. I don't know.
All right. What's your question? Go ahead.
If you go into your email right now, after you just got that 12-hour ban, open up your email. If you did not receive an email, I'm going to ask a friend of mine to do something. Okay?
I already told you I didn't get an email.
Okay. So here's the reason why conservative got their badges taken. There's two reasons. One is because if you violate any terms of service, whether it's valid or not, understand this, whether it's valid or not, they're going to lose it based on association, right? That's just that is org TOS, not XTOS. You need to understand that. XTOS for a user is the free speech platform you want, whatever. Org TOS, when you accept it, there is another TOS that very specifically says, even if your account gets locked, they have the ability to choose for you to keep your verified org or not in total. So whatever was deemed to be the problem, which was obviously quote unquote whatever that screenshot said from Owen, which I briefly saw the screenshot with the lock. That would be the reason why conservative lost it. Just because of that. That is what I was specifically told. Okay, understand that.
Well,
Now,
I didn't do what I'm being accused of.
Yeah, and Grok says that's not the case. Grok says
so
that
now
it's individual accountability, not organizational impact. And I'll add that Braden Sorbo had his account struck today and was, locked out of it.
I did mention that. Now, here's the thing. When they suspend accounts under affiliate, it's the same situation. They can choose to only discipline the one person or discipline the whole org. It's just at discretion of the help desk technician.
That's
right?
not what the terms of service says. I'm looking at it.
But here's the thing: did you look at org terms of service?
Yeah, that's
Not
what I'm looking at.
now. If you go look, if anybody breaks any rules, scroll all the way to the bottom. It says it at the bottom. X deserves the right to remove organization as they see fit. It doesn't matter if she breaks TOS. That's why it was
I
broken.
didn't break TOS.
Now
Okay, but
listen.
yeah, but hold up, hold
Now
up, hold up,
listen.
hold
I said
up.
if that happened, you can appeal it,
Yeah, but
and
hold
then it
up.
comes
So
back.
we just have to go with this information, Laura. So we're not debating whether you did or didn't. This is obviously what's being
Right, but she
applied.
keeps on saying you can appeal it. You can appeal it. How do I appeal it if I don't have an
I
email from X?
But so look,
I
but
can
look,
give you an email to appeal it,
but
but they
look.
may enforce it.
Here's the question now. So now here's the question. Again, whether the block is illegitimate or not, we're sacrificing that for the sake of this conversation. Because as far as I know, this is the first time this has ever happened. I don't think this has ever happened before. Okay, so now we're into uncharted territory, and we have to have a discussion about whether this is a good term of service or not. That
It's not.
dozens of people can be censored for the actions of one. And if you want to, and if they have the legal out of saying, well, it's you signed on to the terms of service, well, okay, that's one thing. So now we can have an open conversation on whether those terms of service are practical, or a good example of free speech. And so I think that's where this conversation needs to go now, because I mean, Laura's already gotten nuked for 12 hours. There's nothing we're going to be able to do about that.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, we're
also
having
too,
that conversation 100% of the time. You want to claim that free speech does not exist, but you literally had a guy on here calling a bunch of people various types of racist fucking slurs and stereotypes, and he's not suspended. So
Slurs?
God,
Are
man,
you
we have
high?
fucking free
Did you
speech on
take
there.
LSD? Are you crazy?
Oh my god, did you take LSD? I'm sorry, I don't believe
Wait,
in MK Ultra.
Adrian, when did I say a slur, brother? You clip the slur.
Bro, you sound like a
You
fucking
clip
human
the
version of a DDoS
slur.
attack. You're like those types.
Okay, well, Charles Johnson's in here, so why don't we give him the mic?
Thank you for the invite, and Merry Christmas and Happy
Merry
Hanukkah and
Christmas.
whatnot to everyone.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, you know, one of the ways to think about this is that Laura was called out deliberately and directly by Elon Musk, saying that she was just trolling to get attention. Now, it's pretty obvious to any of us who work in the tech industry that there's a real problem with both foreign espionage, foreign backing, and foreign influence on this platform and in major tech companies. Anyone who has half a brain can notice this. Now, the Indians in particular, there's lots of examples of them engaging in espionage and them, basically warping our discussions on these platforms. We certainly saw that under the old Twitter back when it was run by effectively Indians and funded by Indian VCs. And I think it's right for us as Americans to ask, like, what do we get for all this Indian immigration into the country? Because it's clearly not higher wages. It's clearly not better living standards. It's clearly not even better technology a lot of the time. So I think Laura's right to point all this out. And I like her. I mean, I like Laura sticking it to these folks. And I think Elon should remember that, like, this country gave him a lot of opportunities. And if he doesn't behave himself, like, we will put him in prison because he's clearly a fraud on many different dimensions.
You aren't going to put no one in prison other than yourself with those
Adrian,
baseless
you're literally an
accusations that you
Indian
pulled
man using a
right
voice
out of the length
changer.
of your
You're
ass.
literally a Indian man.
You're literally
Elon is
using a
subject
voice
right
changer.
now. Elon is
Says
subject
the
right
racist, man.
now
I don't think we should trust
You're
this
an
guy here.
Indian
What is that
man.
that you
right
have?
now to several
You're
grand
an
Do you have like
Indian
this
man.
interesting
Elon
affiliate
is subject right now.
Project
Elon is
Groiper?
subject
Oh yeah,
right
you're the
now.
professional anti-Semitist. Oh, gotcha.
Elon is
Yeah,
subject
yeah.
right now.
Gotcha.
You're like the
Elon,
high standard
Elon
people.
is
Like
What you did is
extremely
totally
close.
not fucking wrong. Yeah,
Elon is
You're a
100%.
extremely
goofball.
close to
hey
Netanyahu.
Adrian,
You're a goofball. You're a
Adrian,
goofball.
Adrian,
Dude, I'm
can
a
I?
professional chain yanker, and the fact that I'm still up here proves that I'm absolutely fucking incredible at it.
No, you're just
Hey
probably Elon
Elon,
No,
Musk. I
you're
or
mean, we
just an
kind of all know
idiot.
Adrian,
this by
No,
now.
seriously,
excuse me,
that's the whole point, man.
I mean, by the
I
way,
keep telling you, but you don't believe me. It's not
Elon
my
works
fault
You're
for
that
just an
this is like going
idiot.
right over your head. Maybe your brains are smoother
we
than mine. I'm jealous.
know that Elon works
Hey, you're
for
laughing at least. That's
Netanyahu.
good.
We know that Elon is funded by the Chinese government. We know that he has a relationship with the Russian government. We know that he has got a relationship with the Turkish government. Now, as Americans, we should be asking ourselves, what the fuck? Why should we continue to fund him? Why should we continue to back him? And if he's going to start making a mockery of free speech by having people be collectively punished, which, by the way, is a war crime, historically speaking, you're not allowed to collectively punish people, especially in the United States. It's a civil rights violation. Then we should be asking larger questions about how we allow him to have control over our airwaves and over our public spectrum. And yeah, this is a serious
You know, by
issue.
that same extent, isn't that exactly what you're doing to the Indians, though? Because you're all labeling them as the same thing.
I'm not labeling the Indians as anything.
We're
I think
not
we should be
labeling
asking a
all
Oh,
Indians
larger
you said that
question
they're all
about
spies,
espionage. Well,
effectively.
there were efforts just this year to assassinate people of Sikh origin in Canada and in the United States. And by the way, the Australians just busted a giant cell of Indian spying. Look, I understand that Elon has a very close relationship with Modi. I get it. He's also got an Indian baby mama, or at least I think she's like half Indian baby mama in the form of Siobhan Zilis. So like,
If he has this close a relationship, then why is there no gigafactory in India?
probably because the Indians won't allow it because he hasn't
Because
paid a
you're
large
full of
enough
shit.
bribe.
That's why.
Probably because he hasn't paid a large enough bribe. And
That is not how any of that works. He doesn't do bribing at all. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to set up anything fucking Germany.
well, in Germany, he was kicked out
You
because he violated
clearly
labor
haven't
union
dealt with
practices.
high-level bureaucracy
He
ever in your
violated
life,
labor
have you?
union practices, so the
Is
German
this like your
government didn't allow
first
him to do a
day?
lot of the things.
Labor unions? What? He's not unionized. What labor unions is supposed to
The
violate?
labor unions in Germany didn't allow him to operate his facility. They used environmental impact reports as a reason to not allow him to operate. I mean, we can go all day
You know,
if you
this
want.
environmental impact report's all bullshit, right?
I think they were perfectly
Do you want to like
legitimate because
ask?
I
Do you
think.
want? Do
By
you
the
want
way,
to? Do you want to
let's
talk about the
remember,
environmental impact of the
Elon got
arsonists that then
$500
followed
million.
afterwards, or do you think that's like
Elon got
also kind of
$500 million
acceptable?
from Secretary Xu
It
under the Obama
it's
administration,
clear
under the
to me
guise
that
that
your
he would
beef
build an
here is not with
affordable
free
electric
speech or the
car.
product
He
at
didn't
all.
do
It
it. He
is with
just
Elon
stole the
himself.
money.
This is exactly what I'm saying here.
Look, you're just wrong
That's
on
all
all
I'm
these
exposing here.
topics. Well, we can have a serious conversation about
No, I'm not
Elon's
wrong at all, actually. I'm
criminality.
100% right. You're just proving it more than anyone.
By the way, we know that there's several federal grand juries going on against Elon as we speak on the self-driving car fraud that he did, which killed people on our freeways. So yeah, we can have a conversation
What?
about Elon.
So 100%, man. I think I understand what your position is. You just hate Elon and you're just
No,
looking
I
for
think
an
Elon's a
outlet to push
criminal,
that
and I
into.
can't wait for him to
Gotcha.
go to jail. I don't
He's
hate
not a
Elon. I
criminal.
want
You're
him to
fucking
stop
idiot.
climbing. I want him to
You
stop
sound like the
climbing and be
Discord.
useful.
You sound like the discount rip-off Wish.com version of Keith Olbermann who wants to fucking arrest everyone just because they don't agree with him
No,
politically.
I don't think so. I've actually
You're like
served my
more
country.
pathetic than
I've served
he
in
is because
intelligence
he actually has a
services.
job.
I've seen the files on Elon, as have a lot of people who are in here who've done intelligence work. We know that he's very close with the Chinese
Intelligence
government.
work? You're sounding
We
very
know that he's
smooth-brained for
trying
that
to
kind of level of
manipulate
work.
our
Just saying,
government.
man.
We know it. It's not a secret. And by the way, increasingly we're doing analysis on people using voice modulation technology on X. So we know who
You
Adrian
know how
Dittmann
retarded you're
is.
going to sound when, like, one day who I am is going to come to the surface and you realize how wrong you are about all
We
this?
already know who you are. Just to be very clear about
Who
this.
am I?
By the way,
Who am I?
Elon
Who am I?
Musk, and we know it full well because we've had your
This guy is so
voicemail
fucking stupid. You know, for a second there, you had me like worried or something. No, man, I
You
just
use the
realized that
same
you're like
speech
right back in the
patterns. You use
trenches.
the same
You're like
inflection.
so deep
It's
in
the
the
same
trenches. You make the
grammar.
crypto trenches look.
All right, we got Clint Russell in here. So, Clint, do you have anything to add?
Man, if Adrian Dittmann is indeed Elon Musk, he's a real fucking asshole. I hope it's not Elon.
Indeed.
Why? Are you scared of him?
No, I like Elon. I just don't really like you. You don't seem very nice at all. Anyways,
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm a jackass. I understand that. 100%. That's my whole purpose here.
Okay. Well, then
I'm a jackass because that's what's been done here. Like, this guy came up here, called my friend, who's obviously not an Indian because he wants to be racist to everyone. Yet this guy over here threatening to arrest and put Elon in jail, even though he's a
Elon's
fucking
going
idiot.
to prison.
And
Like he's
I'm
going to go to
supposed to be
prison.
not the
There's a
asshole
federal
here.
grand
Really,
jury
do you
going
see
on
what's
against
happening?
him.
We should bring bullying back because I'm clearly the bigger bully here because I'm actually more capable. I'm sorry. That's exactly what's happening here. Now, we don't have to be assholes to each other, but that's clearly what has been chosen here. Not by me.
Adrian, you came in here being as abrasive as humanly possible. Let's be honest.
So what is
Oh,
the
yeah, 100%.
solution
Because
then,
I'm calling
Adrian?
bullshit on what you're doing. I think it's
Let's
still 100% bullshit.
let's try to
We're getting like
reconfigure.
closer and closer to the truth. And the truth is going to be so funny because it's going to out you all as liars.
Adrian, what is the solution?
100%.
What is the
And you're
solution?
going to try like somehow bury it, but there's not going to be a burying this time.
Adrian, what is the solution?
The solution is if you feel so unsafe on this app spreading your bullshit, then maybe you should go somewhere else.
Do you think?
That's
Do
the
you
solution.
think people should
You
be
keep threatening-
collectively
you keep
censored?
threatening this, you keep threatening this and this and this and that. No, I'm not saying that anyone should be collectively censored. I'm saying that you, in particular, it's like the five of you, including whoever this racist guy is who just fucking ran, should probably get the hell out of here. Because you're clearly doing nothing but damage and harm. That's my personal opinion, by the way. That opinion is not represented by anyone else other than me.
I'm not a racist. Why is it a racist policy
Not you.
to
Not you. Not you.
Okay.
I wasn't talking to
So
you, was
then
I?
so
Was I
then
specifically
but
naming your
that's
name?
what I
Was I
but
specifically naming your
that's
name?
what I
Yes or no?
want to know, Adrian, is that why should my account have its
The
verification stripped? So what's the
solution is
solution to
you
that?
stop harassing people for being Indian. Your concerns are meritless and bullshit. And I think you should get over yourselves because this is fucking embarrassing. You're making the right look like a bunch of incompetent, smooth-brained idiots. That's what you're all collectively doing
Okay,
here. One guy comes up here is basically...
Anyway.
You can mute me all you want and then claim free speech. But one guy comes up here, claims to be some sort of, I don't know, whatever the fuck. He's a fucking white supremacist or whatever that shit is. I don't even know.
Yeah,
But that level of racism
by
clearly
the way,
gives me a
that
bunch of
hateful attack
understandings that I don't
was
want to
led
have.
against me by Netanyahu's people.
Good evening, everybody. I'm
And that
going
was
to
done, by the
chime
way. By the way,
Call me more of a Yahoo. I want you to call me Yahoo even more so. Maybe I take...
I'm going to chime in. I was listening. You know what? Accidentally, I didn't know that the space was going on, and I was listening to the space earlier. But I'll tell you something, Adrian. I'm listening to you. I'll tell you how I feel. You know what? Because I don't know where I'm coming in this conversation, but I'll tell you based what I heard previous few minutes of this thing. Listen, you sound like an asshole. You sound like you come to my house. Listen to me. Like you come to my house, you insult me. This is what you're doing with your fucking accent.
What
Dude.
are you fucking talking about?
You
What
are
house?
here. Listen to this one. No matter what, no matter how we look at it, I'm a fucking immigrant. These people of this country with the fucking American accent accept me.
Yep.
I better fucking know my place. Because it's the
Yes, you're a
right
boomer
thing
and you
to
probably
do.
ruined the
It's, you
country.
know what? You have to have dignity.
You want to be insulting? I'm going to go right ahead. You want to insult me? I can
I'm
insult you
just
harder. You have no
saying.
idea
I'm
what you're
just
dealing with.
saying because it pisses me off. Because you know what? People like you give people like me a fucking bad credit. Do you understand? We come here to work hard, and you're telling Americans what a pieces of shit they are because they're fighting for their own country. This is what you're doing, dude. Do you understand? Maybe you don't see yourself, but this is
Maybe
exactly
you are
what
kind
you're
of
doing.
stupid because
You're
how
telling with
exactly
your
have I said that?
fucking
How
thick
exactly have I said
accent.
that? Go ahead.
Listen,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm
Explain
getting
to me when I said
unhinged.
this.
I do understand I'm getting unhinged and I can talk like
No, not me at the
nicer,
moment.
but listen. But I get really passionate about it because I can't
Yeah,
imagine
probably
when
you should put
somebody
that
will
passion
come to
somewhere
my.
else into, I don't know, informing yourself because... Sorry, stop muting me, by the way. What you're saying is absolute bullshit.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, again, tell me
Everybody,
where
listen,
exactly
if
I
I
said
go
what
to
you
your
claimed that I said.
fucking
You're putting words
house,
in my mouth.
listen, I'll tell you something. If I go to your fucking house and tell you how you're supposed to act, and I'll call you that you racist,
When have
you
I
this, you
told
this,
you how
and
to
that,
act?
because
When have I done this?
you know you're insane. You are
You
like
sound actually
completely
unhinged, and I
insane.
hope that you probably seek out the necessary medical attention that you
You
need in order
should
to
All right.
deal with
know.
this insanity because
You
you are a
think
threat to
you
the
Hey,
fucking
think
hey,
you're
hey,
platform.
I've
superior.
waited a long time. I've waited a long time. So let me just make my
You
point.
think you're superior. That's what it is,
Wow.
and
He
I
you're
does.
don't think
He
I'm
not.
does.
superior to
He
anyone. I
does.
clearly stated I have the
No,
smoothest brain on the planet.
no. You
Yes.
definitely think you're superior, but that's okay. The point I
No, I
wanted to make.
definitely think I'm super smooth brained, and I think I'm like the most aerodynamic thing here. You know, like those spheres that they manufacture to test like whether or not a kilogram is actually accurate. You know, the spheres of silicon. That's how smooth my brain is.
Yeah, you're the UFOs over New Jersey.
It's
Anyway,
so flat and such a mirror that you can see the future in it, and you don't like what you see.
Jesus Christ, you're obnoxious. All right. So the point I wanted to get to was if it is in fact true that Laura, Owen, others have lost their blue check. Owen, did you lose yours because of some sort of commentary
did.
on what Laura said?
Well, I was never given any reason. The discussions that we're having now are that my check mark and badge and premium subscription was taken away because I am affiliated with a group that Laura Loomer was affiliated with. The conversation we're having is noticing that there is a pattern that people are being, basically, you could call it shadow banning now, because when you take away the verification and the premium subscription, you do get lower tier engagement.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. I just want to see if this is some sort of...
There's no such thing as shadow banning. There's such a thing as called a visibility filter, and that's not been applied to you because you can clearly see all of the posts.
Okay, so
Like, what are you
my
talking about?
check mark, my badge, my premium subscription was taken away, so I have a lower visibility factor. Let's get the technical
Your check
terms
mark
right.
is going to come back at some point. If you had like paid still into the subscription itself, it's just going to come back, and everything's going to be just like it was before. There's going to be like almost no change. So you're complaining for nothing. This is going to like be, I don't know, resolved in probably the next couple of days.
Good. It should
and it'll
be.
as if nothing
It should be
happened.
resolved tomorrow, and I haven't been complaining at all. I've just been asking
I
questions.
don't know, man. I don't know what you guys did to yourselves. I don't know how you associate
Adrian,
with each other, bring weird shit in, and then have people claim stuff that is blatantly a lie.
hey, Adrian, something that you just said. So, are you saying that you think this is going to be
I'm the
resolved?
discount coffee zilla in this conversation. It's so apparent.
Do you think it's going to be resolved in a few days, Adrian?
I don't know. I don't know the extent of the damage you've caused and the extent of the violations you've brought upon yourselves. Clearly here, what has happened is of your fault.
All right, let me say something.
And there's no way to audit it. There's no way to go past it. There's no way to do any of that. There's like just no way, right?
All right.
You know this, right?
Hey, all I wanted to say was I will assist however I can, Laura.
Stop! I can't hear what he's saying because everybody has their mics unmuted. I wanted to hear what he had to say, please. Like it's so annoying. These spaces are just so fucking frenetic. I want to hear what he said. I asked him a question, and the question is,
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe don't bring people up who are like blatant fucking racists and who are calling me a piece of shit and saying I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to come to you.
I'm not the host of this space, so don't blame me for bringing.
I'm not going to come to your house.
All right.
Trust me.
Your
I
argument?
will not even bother.
simply
But I'm
asking
trying
you.
to tell
Please,
you.
please,
You have to
please stop
look from
talking for the good of
outside.
the mental sanity of my brain and everyone else's brain.
You have to look from outside,
Please stop
man.
talking.
You have to look from outside. And you know what?
Yes, I am looking from outside
No,
in,
you're
and what I'm
not.
seeing
You're
is pure
obviously
fucking
you're
insanity.
being very pompous. You're being very pompous. You think I can hear you clearly think that you're smarter than everybody else.
Could you like
And
please
you
stop
think you
threatening
can
me and
tell people in
mischaracterizing me?
their
I
own
kind of feel like
country
offended by
what
that.
they should think and what they should do. And they should bow
All right,
to you. Stop. Dude, be like
no, I'm not
normal. Be
stopping. I'm just
normal.
beginning.
Be normal. Look at this. You're so condescending. Like
You want
it
to tell
shows.
me
I
how to
don't
be
know.
normal.
I even don't know who you are. I'm talking
You
to
are
you like
threatening me
to anybody I
physically
would
and
talk.
want to
Wait,
tell
is
me.
this guy Elon? This Adrian Dittmann guy?
No,
Oh
he's
my
I'm
not.
sorry, are you
He's
fucking
not.
stupid?
It's like, you
I
Are
you're
you?
think he wants
I'm
interrupting.
sorry,
people to
You,
what?
think that he's Elon. I think that he's a
Yeah,
very
it's
aggressive
a bit of a meme
blarper
because
because
nobody
that's
else
how he
is
gets to
able to
speak in
understand the basic
spaces.
thing that's called words, the words that I utter, and the posts that I make, specifically stating the inverse of all those incorrect assessments, more so actually showing how you all have no fucking clue of what's going on.
So what's going on?
Clearly. This is the point of what's happening here. This is what I'm like showing to everyone.
So what's going on?
You don't
Tell
even
us.
see it.
Tell us.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So, what is the
What's
solution
going on right
then?
now is that you guys put out a bunch of bullshit because you're jealous of somebody getting in. You believe that you're somehow entitled of some sort of support, even though you've caused insane amounts of harm to every single movement you're being a part of.
Wow. So that's
Well,
what's going
hold on.
on.
You want to peg it all and stick it to the system. You want to peg it all to the fucking tech bros because they somehow worked for people.
Wait, but
You want to like somehow
who
pick it
are
straight
you
on the
They're
fucking
backed by
exactly
Indian
towards
foreign
dude
though?
because
governments, and we
he
know
looks
this now.
different.
Hold
That's
on.
what you want to do.
By the
That's
way,
what you're doing.
the new bill that was just passed is going to out a lot of this foreign activity. So it's just a matter of time before they're all kind of done anyway, and they kind of know it, which is why they went hard for Trump, even though they tried to fuck Trump in 2016. We all remember.
Adrian,
We all remember
They
Elon
sound like
beating a
the
Adrian,
space
annihilation.
with
Adrian,
DeSantis.
Oh
Like
boy, I see this
we
is where it's
remember
going.
this.
Adrian, which specific people are you talking about with labeling and movements and all that? Which people specifically?
All of you guys here, because
Who's
you're
all
making an
me?
absolute
Who?
mockery of
All
yourselves.
of us?
100%. Oh yeah,
Okay.
100%.
The point that I
This
brought,
is embarrassing.
the
This
central
is really
points that
embarrassing.
the central points that I've been bringing up that have not been resolved, and we've been doing
By the
some
way, I have
about
no
it, have
position
been
in this
two.
at all, other than the fact that I'm a massive troll, and I'm just basically trying to expose how exactly you guys have no clue what's going on and just want to drum up drama for no reason.
So if you have the answers, and
I've done the same to like multiple other people
Adrian, so
themselves who've like
you see, I've
claimed
been
to have
trying
some
to
sort of
have,
meritable
I've been
excuse
trying.
behind their nonsense, but realistically speaking, you just get pissed off by the.
So you only want to have, so do you have the answers for the two questions I brought up about why she got specific, subscriber only?
I don't have any
You don't.
answers for your
Okay,
strange
so then you
questions.
can't
I
let
have
her talk.
answers
You
for
have
the
any
other
answers,
strange questions that you asked
right? So
before,
you
but
have
just
any answers. That's the
clearly
point.
keep muting me before I can clearly answer them.
I have no power in my space. My space is
Get it out,
broken,
man.
so
Get
I
it
can't
out.
help you here. All right, it's a complete
You
crash
are
on my
broken.
side. So if you want to be up here, you want to be up here. Like I'm trying to, I brought you, we brought you up trying to have
some discussion, but you don't want to have one. I get it. I'm trying to be cordial and all of that, but if you don't want to be, then I can't help you. I brought up 2 points. You know the answers for those 2 points. Like, what's the problem here?
I'm trying to answer point 1, whatever point 1 was, but I think point 1 is now point 122 whatever version, because at this point you're just making shit up.
I said 2 points. The first one was about the subscriber only issue with Laura Loomer. You said you didn't know. The second point was why all of us got hit for something, and you didn't know. Those are 2 points.
I don't know what you guys did. I don't know the extent of the bullshit that you guys pulled.
And that's the entire point. Correct? Exactly.
How has it not been clear that I've stated this exact thing?
You don't know.
I am thinking that you are pulling a bunch of bullshit, and your level of defensive-ness without any actual real good proof clearly states that the opposite is happening.
What have I said?
What do you mean, what have you said? You said a whole bunch of bullshit that you can't even reconcile yourself. Why are you asking me? The burden of proof is on you, not me.
What is incorrect with what I said so far?
The burden of proof is on you, not me.
I brought 2 points up. I said it's a unique situation that's never happened before with subscriber-only access for Laura Loomer. The second point being all of us collectively as an organization.
She's violated some sort of terms of service, it seems to be, or some sort of rules.
No,
There's nothing unique
really
about that.
honestly would like an opportunity to appeal it. Can I just explain to you that FEC records are public?
You don't need to explain anything to me. You clearly have. I mean, Owen Schroyer posted the fucking thing, which is funny as hell.
But
you clearly see there in the little reply, you can say, here, would you like to repeal it? Press a little button there. Don't explain it to me. Explain it to them.
I want to, but they didn't even send me an email to
explain it to X-Corp, not me.
Okay, but I don't have an
and
email
not
from
anyone
them.
else.
They're not even acting in good faith. They didn't even send me an email.
Just sue them, Laura. It's not hard. You can force them.
Wow.
Okay, let me say something. The thing I don't understand
this is the most delusional bullshit.
Hold on, Adrian, hold on. The thing I don't understand
is
you
know what I am gonna do about it is I'm gonna escalate. I'm gonna escalate it. I'm gonna escalate it all the way up to President Trump, because I'm gonna talk to President Trump.
You're not gonna escalate shit. You keep being delusional as fuck.
I don't understand.
I swear to God, that's what I'm gonna do.
These are things.
And listen, let me tell you what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, do it, Laura.
I'm gonna escalate it all the way up to
Great.
the top.
This guy's gonna be like the world's biggest simp.
No, I'm telling you. I'm gonna take it to advisors, and I'm gonna take it to people I know who have been appointed to cabinet positions. And I'm gonna ask them, is this the type of America that we're going to be living in? Are these the campaign promises that were made to MAGA and the American people? There needs to be a real evaluation of the type.
I think one of the promises was having you not be racist, perhaps, and a bunch of other people not being racist. I mean, really, you made fools of yourselves today.
I'm not a racist.
You clearly focus specifically on one guy regarding an issue that he has nothing to do with. He's an advisor for AI, not fucking immigration.
Why am I not allowed to talk about H-1B visas and the fact that President
Well, you can talk about it all you want, but it's clear. But it's very clear what you're doing here.
What am I doing?
And I think it has also been very clear to the platform.
No, just because I have a large platform and because my post was the one that went viral and exposed the fact that he, has made comments in the past that are not consistent with President Trump's immigration policies, doesn't mean that I'm harassing.
Now, what are those comments specifically?
Well, if you would unban me and you would
no, state them to me. You keep claiming comments, but you cannot recite them to me, which means that you probably just made it up.
Why can't I access my account?
You fell for Vivek. That's on you. If you fell for Vivek, that's
on you.
I
think I've seen you around somewhere. What's your position on all of this?
Okay, this is my position on all this. Right? Is that if you fell for Vivek at all, it's on you. Clearly, he's not America first and never has been. He read some Paleocon talking points. He came to America making money off snake oil bullshit. Then he put on a cowboy hat and pretended to be
Holy
a
shit,
far
I'm
right.
agreeing with Boxing.
He pretended to be a far right bullshit artist, smiling at white folks and looking at you guys like you're the high school quarterback that he fucking hates. He hates America. He hates white people, and anybody with a fucking IQ above 120 fucking knew that, and we told you guys.
Why are you so racist, man? Seriously.
I'm just telling you the truth.
Okay? As I said before, look, you guys, President Trump listens.
This is fucking a shit show. You don't even know.
President Trump listens to his base, and his advisors will listen to the base too. This has to be escalated all the way up until we get a response from the campaign and the Trump transition team about the influence that big tech is having.
Like, this is insane. You do realize that what you're doing is actually fucking insane.
Not.
Mentally insane.
It's not insane.
It is. It is.
We voted for
You're
President
like trying
Trump.
to actively destabilize government.
What are you talking about?
That's fucking serious.
Government responds to we the people. We elected President Trump, and
Yeah, exactly.
this is crazy. This is
Yeah,
actual.
who elected you? It's a good question. My friend just asked a really good question. Who elected you exactly to do all of this? Who elected you?
I'm an American citizen and a
No,
voter.
who elected you? Who elected you to do all of this?
Do all of what?
Who elected you to get involved in politics? Who elected you specifically to try and take actions that impact the way administratively things are done?
I'm an American citizen, I'm a
Who elected you?
journalist, and I'm a voter. I can do whatever I want.
So you're an unelected individual who's trying to interfere with government
I'm not
process because
interfering
of a
with
personal
government
opinion.
processes. I think
That's
that
exactly what you're doing.
we the people need to use our voices
You are
and our
not the
power.
people. You are a person.
And I'm encouraging
Just to
everybody
make that
on this,
specific,
and I'm
you're an
encouraging other
insane person,
people on
actually, as
this
a matter of fact.
space to contact the Trump administration and to make their voices heard about how they're unhappy with the unfettered access that big tech executives who are still clearly pro-censorship have at Mar-a-Lago.
Wow.
And I would
Again,
encourage
all
all
that
of
you're
you.
admitting here is the fact that you're jealous of a specific individual's position,
No.
or specific other
No,
individuals having positions that you do not have and are never going to have.
I think that it's very concerning that people who share this worldview that it's okay to censor people.
What worldview specifically? What worldview? You can't even name the worldview specifically.
It's a
worldview?
worldview of censorship. It's a technocratic.
Okay, how exactly is the worldview of censorship? You have to agree on something here. Is it either that you're focusing on immigration, or is it that you're focusing on the censorship? Which one are you focusing on especially? Because specifically you were focusing on the immigration, thereby the visas. So what exactly was wrong about the visas?
You're supporting a retaliatory censorship action against.
No, tell me exactly what was wrong with his take on the visas. Specifically, tell me exactly what was wrong with it.
It's completely oppositional to President Trump's original.
In which way? From which perspective? Like, what did he say?
Altogether, I mean, just supporting H-1B visas is in complete opposition to what President Trump said in 2016, and that he wants to eradicate the H-1B visa program.
That is 2016. Welcome to the future. This is the current year of our Lord as 2024.
Promises made, promises kept. You're not original MAGA. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not MAGA at all, motherfucker. What are you talking about? I'm not a political individual. I'm like this thing. I'm like a UFO above like some sort of strange water source that's just like is floating there above the psyop layer. That's what I am. I have literally zero political thing with anyone.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's your problem because you don't.
I don't care left, right, center, inside out.
You don't understand us. You don't understand. If you're
no, I do understand better than anyone else because you told me to have.
If you're not a member of the political movement, that you're not going to understand why people are so passionate about this issue that they've been fighting against for over 8 years.
You haven't been fighting against shit. You've been spreading misinformation.
I'm not spreading misinformation. I'm sharing President Trump's original policy. You either support President Trump or you don't. You don't get to fucking pick and choose.
2016 is not 2024.
You don't get to fucking pick and choose. You don't get to pick and choose what policies are good for America and what policies define MAGA after President Trump ran for office, okay, and gave the finger to both political parties and both political establishments in 2016, okay? I'm fucking sick.
He doesn't have any obligations to what he has done in 2016. He has obligations to his voter base of what he promised in 2024, and that's it. That's the end of that. You live in the past. You literally live in the past. You're in everything that's wrong with the movement.
No, I'm not. You don't even know what the fuck the movement is. You just said
You're the
you're not even part of the
reason.
movement.
You're probably part of the reason why a lot of people didn't vote for the Republicans after 2016.
No, Donald Trump
Because
is the Republican
if
Party.
I was a rational individual and I were to look at this, I would probably do the same.
The Republican Party is because the Republican Party gave up on Donald Trump, and they failed to recognize the fact that Donald Trump is the fucking Republican Party. Okay, that's what I'm trying to emphasize here, and that's what our gripe is with all of these big tech globalists who came in 4 months before the election.
Big tech globalists. Now it's the globalists. Since when it's the big tech globalists?
They're globalists.
Tell me, who's the globalist specifically?
They're all globalists.
Are the globalists in the room with you?
In the room with me right now?
Serious question.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
You.
I'm a globalist?
Yeah.
Nice. You may have thought that was going to be an insult. I don't have insults. You can't insult me.
That's fine.
Laura, what you gotta do,
than you can imagine, because there's literally nothing you can do to offend me.
Okay, well then there's nothing we can do to offend you. It doesn't matter. Look, the people are attacking me. Clearly, they're going to censor me. They're going to silence me. But my advice to all of you.
No one is censoring and silencing you. People are just like, you're disrespecting the rules of the house.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like when you go to somebody's place and they say, no salsa dancing on the fucking eating table at midnight, and you're still salsa dancing on the fucking eating table at midnight. That's kind of a problem.
violate any terms of
Like if I
service.
kick you out of the house, that's kind of warranted. But in this case, you're just like, dude, get off the table. Don't do that again. We don't do salsa dancing at midnight off our eating table.
I didn't
social
post
media
personal
platforms
information.
are the platform for free speech in the modern day. That's what you got to understand.
Anyway, what I was saying before, you guys, is that President Trump...
Hang on a second. Let my friend speak. Hold up a second. Let my friend speak. Alda, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a reason that RFK Jr. is being kept separate from oil, and he's being specifically put into the health industry because Trump doesn't agree with him on that. Same idea here. Suriname is only there for his AI policy. He does not influence any sort of immigration policy. So do you not?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get mass deportations.
Okay,
Shut up.
but that's just intellectually disingenuous. Even David Sachs, yes, you're correct. It is. Immigration and AI are inextricably tied together, given the fact that these big tech executives are now telling us, well, Americans are too dumb to work in AI, so we have to import the best and brightest in order to get people to work in tech and AI in our country. So don't tell me that AI and immigration are separate issues when the tech executives have literally spent the last 72 hours telling us that Americans are too retarded to work in tech and AI, and so we have to import people to go work in tech and AI.
Well, look, let's just ask Adrian this simple question, right? Like, what is the purpose of the H-1B?
There is simply not enough talent in the United States itself to fill out these types of positions. Even if there was, the entitlement is so fucking high.
You just went from saying that this guy's not going to have anything to do with immigration to saying, oh, there's simply not enough talent.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to do with immigration. I'm specifically addressing a strange point that you made about something that has something not to do with this guy.
We want first world wages and first world living standards. When you import tons of people from third world countries, they come here, and to them, second world living standards are a step up. So they're willing to settle for that, but that's a step down for the rest
You're
of us.
absolutely right. And that's why I just asked to Adrian, look, what's your point?
You do realize that the people who are super talented come from places that are so advanced that first world and third world doesn't matter to them.
This conversation's not going anywhere. I'm just going to...
Well, the biggest advocate for
That's
Indian
getting upside down,
immigration,
inside out. That's what's happening.
the biggest advocate for Indian immigration is here, and that's Siddharth. So why don't we give him the mic?
Before you give Siddharth the mic, I think that all of you should know that President Trump does listen to his base. And if you're really passionate about this issue, I think that all of you should use your contacts and your influence and your voices to contact President Trump's campaign or to tag them online, Team Trump and President Trump and his family members, to express your concerns about the unfettered access that big tech executives have and the way that they're...
You sound like the left right now. You understand this, right?
No, I'm not calling for anybody to be canceled. I called
You
for
literally
sound like a
sound
fucking
like the far left.
globalist shill. You sound like an anti-American
You sound like a
globalist
globalist
shill.
I'm a globalist shill, brother. I'm a globalist shill. I'm such a globalist shill, as a matter of fact, that I can chill for the globalist shills.
But
What are you
guys,
doing?
I'm sorry.
You shouldn't scream. You shouldn't scream.
Can I?
I'm just calling
Everybody
on
like
people
keeps
to use
pegging
their
me as
voice.
the asshole,
How
but
about
I'm
we
not.
let
Adrian is
Siddharth
like the
actually
boss.
speak?
Hey guys,
Instead, let Siddharth speak, please.
hey guys, thanks for letting me speak. I have a question to Laura.
Yeah.
I know we've had a lot of exchanges, and I'm happy to go past it.
Yep,
But
me
what
too.
I don't understand is you were racist. You cannot keep saying you weren't racist.
I'm not
You were
racist.
constantly saying, you said, okay, so can you please explain to me when you say plumbing and stinky and all these things? Do you
I
think
didn't say
that's not racist?
stinky. I'm talking about the fact that there is a crisis due to the overpopulation of India, and you can look this up. There's been a lot of
But
stories
that
about
is
this,
racist, right?
and constant.
I mean, you
But
might.
these are all red herrings. Why don't we ask Siddharth one
This is
simple
not
question?
This is not
Listen,
racism.
Laura.
There is
Adrian's a
public.
pro. Okay,
Can you let this
listen
guy?
real quick.
Can you
I'm
let this guy
explaining
speak?
it.
Hang on,
I'm
can you
explaining it.
like shut up for a second and let Siddharth speak? You're
Let's
just
just cover.
overriding
Let's
him for no
No,
fucking reason
he
whatsoever.
just
asked
cover
me.
this
He
one
asked me
thing real
about
quick,
it,
Laura. Yeah,
and I'm
one thing real
explaining it.
quick.
Hey,
Yeah, one
Mr.
thing real quick. This
Pro-immigrant,
is
Mr.
the important
Pro-India.
part.
Oh
Maybe
my
don't tell
god,
her
you
to
guys
shut
are
up, man.
you're literally what's wrong.
All right, one person at a time. Let's go to last psyop.
Let's say for anyone who is at least 2 times.
No, last psyop.
Let's say
Go
for
ahead.
anyone who's at least 2 times above the standard
All right,
Man, if
look,
you can, like,
look,
seriously, you want
Sidharth and
famous.
Adrian can chime in on this,
Keep
right?
muting.
Like, why? Okay, if there isn't a problem, right? And I don't say I necessarily agree with everything Laura has ever said. If there isn't a problem, why are 75% of all H-1Bs issued to India? Why is that? Let's actually touch on that.
Yes, I can explain.
What's the problem with that?
So, I mean,
Because it's not even mathematically possible that they get 75% unless there's corruption.
I'll explain it
It's
to you.
not possible.
That's bullshit. Maybe they're just the most hardworking people. Like, it's a very large country with many hardworking people in it that would like to get
So
out
nobody
of that
else,
country and
nobody
contribute
else
to
from
their
any
skills
other
somewhere else.
country. Yeah, nobody else from any other country can do math
I just said
and do coding.
75%. I would say that probably a
this is
decent
the most
percentage versus
gaslighting I've
25% is
ever
a lot
heard.
of fucking people.
So much gaslighting.
No, 75% of all issued H-1Bs from the
Hang
United
on a second.
States, all
Hang on a second.
H-1Bs.
Can I have my friend chat in for this real quick? Or to go ahead?
Yep.
Even get the H-1B, you have to first finish a U.S. university, which you have to understand is going to be significant.
Guess what? We don't care how hard they work. They're not
Exactly. And
Americans,
why?
bro. Fuck you.
Yeah, but why?
Can you stop screaming? Can you stop screaming, you absolute fucking idiot? You should literally be fucking kicked off the space. You are nothing but an absolute drag on the conversation. You have no understanding of what's going on. You're an absolute fucking idiot. You have a smoother brain than me.
The people from India that are getting the H-1Bs are in a significantly better position than the average person in the country because they're able to come to the U.S. and get a U.S. degree.
Yeah, and the reason that they're
Adrian, can I
able to
chime in on
come
this
to
really
the
quick?
U.S. and get the degree, the reason is because the colleges are charging them more
No,
money.
that's not. You guys are actually so wrong on the H-1B visa. So what it actually
Yeah,
is,
I never worked for the government, processed H-1Bs. Never heard of that before. People are talking about rumors. They're talking about rumors. 75% are issued to India, and there's no possible way that number should exist. It should not exist.
That's not the whole thing about the H-1B visa. It's about the H-1.
That's extremely racist.
It's about the H-1/4. So if somebody here comes into the healthcare or comes into a huge position, it gives their children also the opportunity to go to college. And if they don't, they have to go back. You're literally grooming people to become American citizens. That's what the H-1B visa is for. Now, if
No, it isn't.
now here's the thing: if hardworking Americans would, become computer engineers and be extremely successful,
They do, and they get blacklisted by big tech.
I don't think that.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
they
think
require
that-
actual wages. 80,000 a year is what they're paying.
Where's your proof?
80,000.
Source?
You've been
Source?
around for the past
Go and
decade
Google
where these big
go
Reddit
and
moderator
Google
wants source.
H-1B
Tell me where the
visa
source is for this conclusion.
and Meta.
explicitly discriminating against white people, like the DEI and all
They've
this
already
stuff.
settled. They've
that's
Oh
been
yeah,
settled
going on.
DEI is a massive issue. I think we can all agree on that, but it has nothing to do with immigration.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, why do you think that these people aren't being hired? Oh, wait, it's because these companies explicitly are discriminating against white people through DEI and affirmative action. The other thing that you guys got to keep in mind is a country like the United States government is number one role is to look out for its own citizens. And I've said this, that, like, okay, yeah, maybe the H-1Bs marginally increase total economic output, but it is in no way worth the moderate to significant decline in standard of living for American citizens. Because again, the government's only responsibility is to our people, not to foreigners on the other side of the world.
Okay, so what about the O1 visa, the EB1 visa, and the EB5? What about those?
Yeah,
well, yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the O1, and that's the thing, is that you guys sell the H-1Bs as being the O1, where it's like, oh, these super skilled migrants. And yeah,
who is you guys specifically? Who's you guys? I'm not selling anything. Who's you guys?
Generally, the proponents of this infinite immigration scheme. So yeah, you guys sell it as like, oh, well, the H-1B is, oh, it's the best and brightest. No, it's just white collar workers that will work for cheaper than Americans. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is. Wow. And every tech company in the United States takes advantage of that. 100% of them, not 20% of them, 100%. It's always been that way. And it's not that we don't have the skills. It's that they simply hire them to pay them lower wages. It's that easy.
There's literally, if you go up and look in the Google, in the chat, in the Jumbotron, you can see that literally, like, last month, 3 Indian immigrants pleaded guilty to H-1B visa fraud in federal court. It happens all the time. And Americans are sick of being screwed over by
Guys,
all these fraudsters.
can I speak? Yeah. So here's the thing. There is fraud. There are cases of H-1B fraud that happens, no doubt about it. But that does not credit from the fact that H-1B is critical for the American tech industry. You might not like it, but that's the
Then
fact.
we should end the American tech industry as it currently stands.
I'm pretty sure it's doing pretty well. So by the way,
I would argue it's not doing very well. It's doing well in terms of profits, but the wages should be way higher, and maybe more Americans would go into
here's
them.
the
And
thing.
maybe if
Here's
Americans
the thing.
weren't discriminated against by the tech industry, we would see more Americans go into them.
So I think there is a
And those
skill.
are our arguments. That's all we've been trying to say.
I know if I say this because I'm an Indian American, this will, might ruffle you guys wrong, but there is a skill issue. There are less Americans getting in.
I had a perfect score on the SAT. I graduated in the top 10 of an elite prep school. I was routinely discriminated against at the hiring interviews for Google, as have been many other people in this space. And many people, like,
Honestly, if I was
by
supposed
the
to
way,
hire you as well, I probably wouldn't hire you anyways.
no, you
That's
wouldn't
some
because
fucking
you're
shit
not a
right
U.S.
there. I would
citizen,
never
and I
hire
would
this
never
guy.
work for Elon. So there's that. And by the way, you'll be making license plates in no time at
Holy
all.
shit.
And by the way,
I'm gonna like
I have
borrow a
companies that
page. I'm gonna like borrow a page from the super
companies that I
tech bro
invested
here.
in
You know, fucking like
brought
what is his name? Mark
in
Zuckerberg, the
150
Zuckerberg
million
dumb fuck.
dollars.
Let
Okay,
me just
how does
chime
that
in
feel?
real quick
How
and
does that work?
let
Do
me
you like that?
explain
Because
this,
that's
right?
exactly what you did.
Sid Harth is here. He can actually verify this, right? So $80,000 being paid to somebody that comes here on an H-1B is like top rank in India. If they go home with that money, or if they send even 40,000 home,
Well,
they're a
dude,
wealthy family
the Modi
in
government
India.
requires
There's
slave
no
labor.
debate on
This
that.
is
That's
important.
math.
This is
I do
important to
math.
understand.
I don't debate all this other talk.
This is important to
That's
understand
math.
because I'm agreeing with your point. The Modi government has an overpopulation issue. It's trying to basically outsource and move millions of people outside of India into the United States and into the Middle East, and it taxes the remittances that come into India. That is not our problem. We should be asking, what do we get for all the Indians that come here? And the answer is we don't. We get lower suppressed wages. We get higher tech profits that benefit few people who own these companies, and it doesn't benefit Americans. Full stop.
Oh, hello?
Yeah,
Can
I
y'all
It's
hear
just
me?
think
lagging
they've
back to me.
decided to come to
It's
conclusions.
lagging.
For real? Nice.
Hey, can one of you guys do me a favor? Because Yasher Ali is now like spreading disinformation and saying that I was banned for posting personal information. Somebody needs to clarify and say that's what they said I did at Twitter. I didn't actually spread personal information. And if you look at my post, you can clearly see the screenshot had the address on the FEC report, which is publicly available information blurred out. So there's a full blown effort right now to just push revisionist history.
I mean, even if you did share private information,
Hang on, hang on a second, hang on a
X
second,
doesn't
hang on a
care.
second. Let my friend speak, let my friend speak. You've been like, fucking damn. Anyways, Alda, go ahead, please.
I think it was pretty much clarifying with Elon Jet that posting anything that could reveal some information to a lot of people would get a suspension just because
And
it
yet
was
they
a
didn't do
market.
any of that with Nick Fuentes having his docs out there and being seen by 16 million people. This is obviously bullshit. It's a selective enforcement of the
Yeah,
policies against Laura
it's also
because Laura criticized the H-1B
it's
visa
also
program.
there's a lot of people
That
that
is not true. They got rid of a lot of those posts. The only
No, they
problem
didn't.
is
No,
that
they
a lot of
didn't.
people
No, they
are
didn't.
fucking drama queens
No,
and they
they didn't.
engage with that
no.
nonsense. You have never managed an information system that large, so you wouldn't understand
Okay,
how
Yes, I
complicated
have.
and difficult that is to
but
moderate.
Adrian, with all due
And by the way, it's going
respect,
to come out in court anyway.
Adrian,
He's
with
going to
all due
sue you.
respect, Twitter, on X, they talk about citizen journalism, and a lot of reporters have posted FEC reports before, and it's not just on the left; it's people on the right as well. And so this is publicly available information, and in the age of political journalism and citizen journalism, you should be able to post publicly available information. And I actually took the courtesy of blurring out the address on the FEC report so that nobody would accuse me of doxing or so that Saram would not feel threatened. And so I don't think it's right for me to be accused of posting personal information. If you want to say that I was offensive, that's a subjective that's a subjective thing. Like maybe I was offensive to you, but I did not post his personal information. And if you go and you look at the screenshot, you'll see I clearly blurred it. So
it's a big excuse that they're using to censor you, Laura. Everybody knows.
Okay, but I would just, I think that, look, I would like to think that Elon could view this fairly and look at it objectively and see, okay, well, maybe I don't like her characterization of him as an individual, but she did not post personal information. And so I'd really like an opportunity to actually get back into my account and show everybody that I did not post this personal information. I have the screenshot. I'm happy to DM it to you, Adrian, so you can see what I actually posted, and it's blurred out. And you'll see for yourself there's no address there. It's really unfair. There's a lot of people that post FEC records, and it's public information. If they say that citizen journalism is allowed on X, then you should allow for people to post FEC reports. It's how we hold people accountable. It's how we talk about people's political contributions. FEC reporting is a pivotal part of reporting on the political process in America. It just seems very unfair.
By the way, I just looked at the transcript of the conversation that we were having earlier in regards to when you first received the notification. Yeah. And you said, I got a notification from Twitter that they're deleting my post about Saram and they're also limiting my account for it. There you go. That post about Saram.
Yeah.
You denied that you said that.
No, I said they said that they were deleting it because they said that it violated personal information. I'm happy to send you the screenshot.
I thought you didn't have access to the post.
I have the screenshot that showed up on my Twitter account. That's the post that I'm talking about. When I just got the notification, like prior to...
I thought you didn't see a post at all.
I'm talking about this. I didn't get an email. I got a pop-up on my phone that was, and you can see what Owen posted. It's 3 images, and it says, let me read it to you. This is what pops up anytime I try to post. It says, we temporarily limited, I'm reading it to you. We temporarily limited some of your account features. What happened? We've determined that you violated X rules, so we temporarily limited some of your account features. And then you click next. There's a next button. After it says 11 hours, 59 minutes, you have to click start for it to engage. And then it says another message. We temporarily limited some of your account features. We determined that this account violated X rules specifically for 1, violating our rules.
I can read myself,
okay.
But here's the interesting thing. You specifically mentioned what is not shown in any of these screenshots. You mentioned the guy's name, so you knew which post triggered it, even though you denied it.
No, I already told you.
We have the transcript. We have the clip if we want to actually look for it.
I told you that they showed the post that they...
So how do you know? So how did you know it was Suriname if you couldn't see the post?
Because
I can't see it in these screenshots. So these screenshots are inconclusive because they're not within the. They actually need the community note.
I'm showing you and I'm telling you that they said that was the post, but I can't click on the actual post. It showed a screenshot of it, and it said it. And I remember the post because I posted it yesterday, where I clearly said. I posted
screenshot. Can you show me the screenshot of that post? Because you clearly said that there's a screenshot of the post there. So why didn't you show us that?
But I can't send images over DM.
Yes, you can. You literally DM'd just now what you saw on your profile to someone else. So you clearly can, but you are not.
I'm trying to message you. I sent you a message right now. If you check your...
You can't message me on here. You're going to message someone. If you can't message someone on X, then you're going to message someone who's off X and then get that screenshot to me.
That's not true.
Just like you did with the other screenshot.
You can send messages, but you can't send photo or video messages. That is 100%.
You are denying that you can take a screenshot of what you received and send it to someone without using X. You liar. You are lying. You just lied. And we can prove it.
I sent this
you just lied.
To Owen Schroyer's personal cell phone number. I'm not lying.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were incapable of doing that.
No, I am not capable of sending.
That's right, because you didn't use X in order to do this, and that's why I'm asking you to do the same thing with this thing that you have here, because you just word for word said that you have a screenshot of that exact post, because the screenshot of the post was within the place where they. Do you see how you're digging your own grave here? You're like one of those cars, and they don't put like the pieces of wood there so that it doesn't get itself dug into the mud more. But you just keep driving and driving and driving. It gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
Anyone have any idea about what drugs
I
Adrian's
sent
on?
the screenshot to Owen's personal phone number. I tried sending
Laura,
him the message over DM and it said I
You
can't
left
send
out
the
Laura,
key
messages.
Laura,
pieces.
I
You
did
left
not
out
Laura,
key
send the
pieces
we
of it
screenshots.
talk.
clearly
I
because you
said,
stated
I
something that is
Laura,
not
I
shown
did not
within those
tweet it because
screenshots.
I can't fucking tweet because my
okay,
account is
listen,
locked.
Laura,
Again,
you're
you're lying
explaining
even
to
more because you're making
somebody.
an
You
excuse that you have.
I sent him the
Yes.
messages. I sent him all
Yes,
of
good.
them.
Then why can't you send? Then why can't you send the full thing?
I
Because you're
did
clearly
send it
leaving
to
pieces
him.
of information out. But you have stated what those pieces of information are because you slipped up.
No, I didn't.
So either you're lying about this or you're lying about the other thing. I can't tell
I
because you're
clearly
lying about everything
I
now, and we can
okay.
actually
sent
prove
him
this.
everything. I can't post it because
Wow.
I
By
am
the
not
way,
allowed to
chat,
post on
Nick
my
Flint has
account.
just joined. We're about to have a party.
This is so ridiculous. I'm happy to send
We're so done,
I'm
man.
happy
This is like, dude.
Stop muting me. I'm happy to send other people on this chat who I have their personal cell phone numbers because he's gaslighting and trying to say that I could post this when I can't DM. Everybody fucking knows that when
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I specifically said you can
you are
send a
having a
screenshot of
No,
manic
she
whatever you
you are
cannot
having
have
send.
a
You've
to
never
somebody
been
else,
manic
which is exactly what you
episode.
did.
suspended.
You are
Dude,
having a
have you
manic
ever been
episode. You are having
suspended?
a
This guy's
manic
this
episode.
person's lying
You are having a
100%,
manic
and we can prove
episode
it.
and trying
Okay,
to say that
There
I
listen.
is no. By the way, there's
can't.
All right,
I
this isn't going anywhere.
I'm
So
happy. Send me one of you. Send me your cell phone number, and I'm happy to
You
send
can
you
send it to
all of the
me.
Oh
screenshots,
fuck
just
no! I'm
like I
not giving
sent
it to
it to
you. You're
Owen.
fucking insane.
Okay, hold on.
Absolutely, the fuck I won't. That's like
Wait, sorry. It's I can't do anything. It's sorry, he muted it. Okay. Could we have? So I think we have Nick up here, and I know there's been a lot of stuff going on X specifically regarding.
I'm not going to be called a liar. I'm happy to send this again. I sent all the
Oh, you're
messages
absolutely a
to
liar, and I
Owen.
have proofs of it for the fact that you're a liar. And we're not going to discuss the doxing problem and how to
There's
manage the
no. I
fucking
didn't
platform's
dox
Hold on.
information.
anybody.
That is not what's
I didn't
happening
dox.
here. What we're specifically.
Oh, I ended that, but my whole face is
you
pressed
guys
by
are
it.
not getting anywhere. So
Yeah,
shut
because
up.
he's lying.
Just shut
Because
up. Just shut up. You guys, we've heard this going on. Just let someone else talk.
I'm
We
just
know
yeah,
curious,
we
because
know
the
he's
whole
Adrian.
lying,
point of
bro.
this is why the account got shut
Laura,
down, and you want to let
people
other
know that he's
people talk
lying.
about bullshit stuff. But the reality
People know that
is
he's
my
lying.
account got shut down because of what? I'm falsely being accused of doxing someone when people know that I didn't post the address because it was blurred.
So hold on, because
You have to be
so
like a
you made a
masochist
point.
because you got to be left calling a liar because you're.
Adrian, I can't. My whole face is broken. I can't even do anything here. So she made her point.
You're clearly muting people,
I'm
so you have
not.
full
I'm
control over the
not.
space.
No, that's
Don't
me.
That's
That's
clearly
me.
don't
not
That's
me.
me.
bullshit
That's
me.
clearly not me. So
I
All
have
right, good. Then it's
my
him.
control of
hold
the
on.
Nice.
So I want to have Nick talk about the doxing on X and about what he's gone through on the platform regarding
What
TOS.
did I just specifically come here for? I did not come here to
Then you
discuss
have
the
to leave.
information
Okay,
I let him
management
then
talk.
system that is
leave.
the
Then
platform. I
leave.
came here
Then you can
specifically to
leave.
discuss the lies and the
All
bullshit.
right.
Okay,
Why
then
are
you
you
need to
in
go then.
here?
Like I'm
You're
trying to get
drunk.
you up
Blatant
here.
racist attacks on an
I'm
individual in
trying
the
to get
government.
you up here, and you're not letting us talk about something different. You've gone back and forth about this for like 30 minutes about these
No, because that was not
like
what we're
no,
talking about, and it
listen.
is also not what we're talking about either.
Okay.
We are talking about a very
Mhm.
particular thing in nature. We're going to talk about this person's racism and this person's lives. That's it.
Chief, the guy
I'm
completely
not
I
a
don't care, and I don't
I'm
care.
deflected
not a
I don't care what you
racist
think of me
and I
after
didn't
this.
lie.
This doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Okay, then why specifically did you attack this one individual because he's Indian?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I spoke out about his conflicting views on H-1B visas because President Trump has
And you can't
specifically.
even state what those views are until you state that somehow President Trump has made a previous fucking a promise in
He
2016
did.
that is not
He
applicable to
did make a
2024.
promise.
You do realize this, by the way? You do
Hold on.
The MAGA agenda hasn't changed. You
you do
understand
realize
that?
that this has no bearing on the
All right, let Chief talk. Jeez. God.
Hold on. I want to go because I want to go to Nick and ask him a question about the whole X situation. And Adrian, I know you're not a big fan of that, but I want to hear what he has to say regarding X, social media, and how doxing has been a very big part of, just a reason why X has to have some sort of enforcement policy with, addresses and all that. So I want to go to Nick. He has a hand up here. He's been through a ton of stuff because of X not enforcing TOS. So I want to hear what he has to say. So Nick, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good to join you. Good to be amongst the living. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and had a good holiday and everything. So I mean, I guess I'll just comment on what's been going on today and what's been going on the past week. I'd like to say on the record, of course, that I did not vote for Trump, of course. And in particular, I was highly critical of the little tech Silicon Valley coalition, which poured money into his campaign to get him elected. And the reason why, to put it succinctly, is that they are not ideologically aligned with America first, with American nationalism. And people can disagree. Obviously, Elon, Vivek, David Sachs, I'm sure Adrian, obviously a lot of people, there's clearly a disagreement, and you can feel however you want about it. And this issue I'm talking about in particular is the issue of legal immigration. Regardless of the volume of the immigration, regardless of the details, there's a clear ideological dispute between the tech oligarchs, and I think that's plainly what you can call them because of their wealth and the influence of their particular companies. Obviously, a car company is far more important and influential than any other company. Communications company is far more politically important than Home Depot or something like that. So, given the stature and the power of a true oligarch like Elon Musk and his cronies, so I think it's fair to call them those things. They clearly are ideologically not aligned with the Trump movement. Trump, from the very beginning, from 2016, represented something like nativism. And that's sometimes used as a pejorative term. At the minimum, it represented immigration restriction. This is why Ann Coulter was one of his biggest supporters from the beginning. And it's important to say that because Ann Coulter recently said, she interviewed Vivek, she said she would not vote for Vivek based on his race. She also has been outspoken about this particular issue and the issue of the green cards, which is, of course, related. I'm talking about opening up the H-1B visa caps, as well as Trump's pledge to open up these student visas for foreign students that graduate from a university here. And so people like Musk, Vivek, David Sachs, etc.
So wait, hang on a second. Are you saying that Trump promised that these things would be opened up so that more people could in fact come in legally?
In June.
That would then therefore conflict with Laura Loomer because she said that, of course, the promise in 2016 was to do the inverse of that, but then the promise of 2024, which of course, got him elected, I believe that's a bunch of stuff that's important,
yeah,
is the inverse of exactly that.
No.
Basically makes her even more of an
yeah, well,
Thank you.
Let's get the facts straight. In 2016, Trump actually, because I studied this issue, and this is one of the reasons I did not vote for Trump in 24, but I did vote for him in 16. In 2016, he waffled on the H-1B issue in particular throughout the primary and even a little bit into the general. I believe it was around March or April 2016. So that still actually would have been in the middle of the primary. That is when he made his final position known on the issue and said he would actually work to reduce the number of H-1B visas. And then when he got in office, and this is all reported on Center for Immigration Studies, they don't even like me. Mark Krikorian runs it. He's not a fan of mine at all. And I wouldn't even call him the furthest right restrictionist. He got in a big debate with Jason Richwine about this 20 years ago. But Mark Krikorian from CIS, Center for Immigration Studies, he wrote about this extensively then and now. In the first term, Trump signed, I believe it was over 400 executive orders trying to reduce the number of work visas, including H-1Bs, and it was unsuccessful. The cap was met every year. There's an annual cap of, I believe it's 85,000. He met that cap every year, did not reduce it. He tried to, and he ran on doing that. So he ran in 16, not only on reducing illegal immigration or eliminating it by building a border wall, but also on reducing legal immigration. 2024, he changed his tune, and it was at a very precise moment. In March of 2024, it was Jacob Hellberg, who is another one of the tech oligarchs. He's married to Keith Rabois. He used to work at Google, I believe. He was the first of these tech moguls to give the maximum contribution to the Trump Joint Fundraising Committee. He maxed out at, I think, just over $800,000 in March. He was the first one. And then over those next few months, the other tech people bought in. Now, according to the press, this was J.D. Vance. Vance, who is, of course, a protege of Peter Thiel from the PayPal Mafia, founder of the Founders Fund. He's, I think, a partner in Y Combinator. J.D. Vance, the protege of Thiel, was the bridge between Trump and tech. That's one of the reasons he was made vice president, because Trump needed money. In order to win the general, he needed funds. And that's why he considered Burgum, who had oil money. He had a commitment. I forget the promise, but he was committing a certain amount of money if he got the vice presidency. Rubio was in consideration and Vance was in consideration. And part of the reason for that is because Vance brought in the tech money. In June of 2024, David Sachs held a fundraiser at his home in Los Angeles for Trump with the tech people, and Vance took credit for it.
It was in San Francisco, not Los
I
Angeles.
think it was LA, but maybe you're right.
No, it was San Francisco because I had friends who were there.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
it was LA, but whatever. Maybe San Francisco.
Go on, Nicholas.
Regardless, a week later, Trump goes on the All In podcast, which is co-hosted by David Sachs. And they said to him, we got him to agree to this. This is Sachs and the other hosts on All In. They said, we got him to agree to this at that fundraiser. And they were going to host actually the podcast at the fundraiser. They said they wanted to record it there at the fundraiser, but they did it later. So when Trump came on the podcast, that's when he said for the first time, we should staple green cards to the diplomas of every foreign student, every degree program from 2 years all the way up to like a PhD program. He said everybody should get green cards. And if you've heard that before, that's a very old position. Mitt Romney has said that. Joe Biden has said that. I believe Hillary Clinton has said that. Charlie Kirk has said that. It's quote unquote stapling the green cards to diplomas. It's an old phrase. It's an old policy. And he said it because they told him to. And of course, that came with the money. They all contributed to his campaign. And the reason that they want the legal immigration is very simple. And it's not like some big deception. It's not even that complicated. Musk and Sachs and the others, Sean McGuire from Sequoia, they're invested in tech companies. Tech companies need cheap labor. They need cheap, skilled labor. And in particular, the rumor is that Jacob Hellberg, who is again the first of the tech people to max out, Hellberg had convinced Trump that in order to be competitive with China, he needed to go all in on artificial intelligence. That requires more engineers. That requires more of these skilled immigrants. It also requires a great deal of energy because the data centers and the AI are a huge power suck. It's a huge electricity and energy suck. That is what is starting to shape this new Trumpism from 2024. And the tension is between the tech people that say, in order for America to be competitive, to reduce the debt, to fight China, to expand AI, we need the cheap labor. And the Trump supporters from 16, people like Posobiec, who I don't even really like, and like the Bannon acolytes and others, including even people like myself. I'm not a Bannon acolyte, but I'm an old school Trump supporter. We're saying this is totally contrary to the spirit of the original MAGA movement. And that's why we don't really care so much about the details, the quantity, whatever. The point is we should make it easier for Americans to get the jobs rather than the Indians or the Chinese or whomever. Also, the other issue, it's not even about the economy. It's about the fact that in the past 4 years, we had 10 million illegal immigrants. So immigration, legal or illegal, on net has not slowed down since Trump won in 2016 with the mandate of restricting immigration. On the contrary, it has only increased for the last 10 years. Trump won in 16 with the mandate to restrict immigration. It has gone up on net for the last 10 years. Legal and illegal have remained persistently high. So the idea that, I mean, he's not even in office yet. He hasn't even been inaugurated. Congress hasn't been seated. The idea that we're already talking about expediting and expanding the number of immigrants into the country, It's a huge slap in the face. It's a big problem, and it shows this ideological tension in the middle of it. And the thing is, I told people, it's not about me, but I told people the time for this debate was during the election. And the reason for that is because Trump needs the money, but during the election, he also needs the votes. And this was the idea behind Groyper Ward 2. I said if we force the issue of immigration and foreign policy, specifically with the Middle Eastern conflagration, I said if we force those issues, then Trump has to choose essentially between the base and the money. And maybe even the money says, if we want you to win and liberalize regulations on self-driving or AI, maybe we got to bite the bullet and let Trump take a more hardline stance and make a promise to the base about restricting immigration. The problem is that now that he's won the election, the voters have no leverage. And this is why they're impotently screaming out and saying, midterms, we'll primary them in the midterms. In 2036, we're going to stay home. And it's like they always say that, they never do it. After the election, when they're butthurt, they say, we'll primary you in the midterms. Then the midterms arrive and they say, hold the line, hold your nose and vote. Everyone has to vote because the Democrats are far worse. And I'm just saying, people, and to Adrian's point, I actually agree with Adrian. People can't be butthurt about what they got. No one was lying. Elon, Sachs, Trump, these people were all very upfront about what they wanted. And what they said then was, they alluded to West Bank annexation when they said Israel should be bigger. They said we're stapling green cards to diplomas. They said we need the people. We need the people for AI, and we're going to bring them in. Like people are all surprised now. They're saying, what? I can't believe, like, Elon is not a nationalist. Elon has always been, and again, like it, love it, don't like it, Elon has always been basically a right-leaning liberal. He's liberal on social issues. He's not a Christian. Maybe he's an atheist or agnostic or something. I'm sure Adrian knows, he's the expert. He's like in favor of law and order, and he wants to shut down illegal immigration, but he's always been pro-legal immigration. He's an immigrant himself. He said he's aspirationally Jewish, so he's not critical of Zionism or Israel. I would argue he's probably better on foreign policy than he is on immigration. He doesn't want the wars to continue. That being said, he is a defense contractor, which people forget. And I guess the big takeaway is to realize politics is interest based. You cannot be naive. And people were being lied to during the election. When Trump said staple green cards to diplomas, people said that was a, quote, throwaway remark that was made, quote, off the cuff. That was not the case. He reiterated it several times during the election. It was not off the cuff. It was not something that he just farted out. That was deliberate and intentional. And the reason Elon put $300 million, $277 million into the Trump campaign, biggest individual donor in 4 cycles, is because he believed Trump would secure his interests. Now, of course, we're all ideological. We're primarily motivated by interest. And people were being told, no, you don't get it. This is what winning looks like. When these tech oligarchs, who are in no way conservative, who are in no way nationalistic or right wing, when those people were showing up and pouring in money and swearing obeisance to Trump, people didn't even look at it twice, because they said, well, this is what winning looks like. We won the argument. Mark Zuckerberg started working out and became based. That's what these fucktards, forgive my language, were saying. They were saying Mark Zuckerberg went to a style consultant, got a new haircut and a new outfit. They saw him on a podcast and said, whoa, this guy's been slonking raw eggs and working out. I guess that means he's based. I guess that means he shares our opinion on traditional architecture. It's like, no, he's just like in the last administration. He is deftly navigating a tense political climate. In the first term, Zuckerberg worked with Trump. It is well documented. Zuckerberg pretended to be on Trump's side so that he could avoid any kind of regulatory enforcement or other things. He's doing the same thing now, just like Bezos, like Musk, like Little Tech, Sean McGuire, the rest of them. And I said, you could search through my tweets. I said, wow, a lot of epiphanies this year. Musk, McGuire, David Sachs. I mean, Sachs and Musk were on Ron DeSantis's announcement last year. Now they're big Trump supporters. I said, wow, they must have really had some epiphany. No, they didn't have an epiphany. Elon made a play to become influential in politics because his companies are the jurisdiction of the federal government. He's been getting attention from regulatory agencies. Biden was coming after him for not hiring enough refugees or whatever. So Musk said, what am I getting pushed around for? I'm worth $300 billion. I should determine the president. So he he bought Trump at his dip when Trump was getting charged and indicted and they were trying to throw him off the ballot. They bought the dip. They realized he'd be the Republican nominee. They held their nose and they went behind him. They never became conservatives. They never became ideologically aligned. And here's the problem. Some people are now reluctantly admitting that and saying, well, it was important that we got Trump in office. We knew that going in. It's like, well, a lot of people were lied to. I tried to warn them. I was attacked for it. People were lied to. They thought they were getting something else. They really did think Elon and RFK were bringing back like Creed and like grunge or whatever. Like the Gen X fucking trash was saying like, oh, we're bringing back Nickelback and like Coldplay. Like, no, they think they're just going to like run the government like everybody does. But anyway, now they're saying, well, we had to get Trump in office. And, now we're part of this coalition. And now tech is going to have their say and we're going to have their say. And it's like, you and what army? Elon put 300 million in. You're a fucking Twitter account. By the way, Elon runs Twitter. So now people are starting to see, they said, well, we'll push Trump. We're going to pressure Trump after he wins. It's like, first of all, with what leverage? They say Twitter accounts. Okay. Twitter accounts or X accounts on what platform? Owned by who? Owned by Elon. So your master plan was to pressure Trump by tapping that screen. Go ahead, guys, tap that screen. Keep tapping that screen until we get to 10,000 likes. You thought you were going to tap the screen to pressure Trump, except one problem. Elon owns the platform. So now people are getting their check marks taken and they're giving a pretextual reason and saying, oh, it's spam, it's racism. I find that dubious at best. Maybe you believe that. But now the check marks are being removed, which means people are being de-amplified and it's being manipulated. They're manipulating the conversation. And Elon retweeted today or reposted Trump saying in June, staple the green cards to the diplomas. And that's a reminder, hey, this is what we got. This is the deal. I put in 277. I bought the platform for you. I made Trump win, and now Trump's going to deliver. And if you're against it, well, there goes your check mark. And people like Mike Cernovich are saying, well, Elon's the king of Twitter, and you kneel when you see the king, and you grab his thing and all that. It's like, okay, but that's not really, I think, what people signed up for. That's why I never supported it, because I fucking told you so. I knew it was going to happen. And, we tried to stop it, but nobody wanted to help. I did Groyper War too. Everybody just made fun of me. Everybody said, oh, well, you're a Democrat plant. Oh, well, you just don't understand. You don't want to win. You're the eternal dissident. And you don't want to let that go. You just want to be oppositional and contrarian all the time. It's like, no, you just look at, hey, politics is what it is, guys. They tell on themselves. They love Carl Schmitt. And Carl Schmitt says the essence of politics is the friend-enemy distinction. They're telling you guys. And guess what? They're not our friends. They may be giving money to the Republican candidate. Ideological allies, it does not make them. And so nobody should be surprised that Elon is not like a anti-Zionist, white nationalist, whatever people projected onto him. It was never there. It was not there. And now people are shocked, and they really shouldn't be. Now I'm out here now, like I was then, opposing it and giving the argument saying, look, I mean, for me, I don't think we should increase the H-1Bs because I don't think we should increase immigration. If you want to increase H-1Bs, you need to offset that with no illegal immigration or mass deportations. Like, we need to get to net zero immigration, where there's frankly, there should be more people leaving than coming in, even if that's mass deportations with illegals, or at the minimum net zero. And I think that's for cultural reasons, identity reasons. I would argue it, probably is more efficient for the economy to bring in the cheaper labor. But then again, we're a nation, not an economy. That's my argument. I'm saying that now. I've been saying that for 10 years. I was saying it during the election. Other people were too. Jared Taylor said the same thing. And, people love him, people hate me. Well, I mean, he said the exact same thing. This wasn't a win for white Americans. It wasn't a win for immigration restrictionists. It was a win for this sort of populism, which has gone Frankenstein. And now it's just become like weird conspiracy shit. Like, now people are celebrating Trump won because they're going to get rid of food coloring, get rid of food dye or something. It's like, we want to build a border wall. I don't care if there's like red 40 in the M&Ms, So, but this is what populism has kind of been manipulated into by, I think, very sophisticated elites. And I think Elon is one of them. And I don't think that's necessary. You can't even necessarily call it sinister, because they were very open about it. There's not some big deception here. The deception was promulgated by the Trump shills, who told you this was going to be like a TikTok edit. It's not a TikTok edit. Trump is 80 years old. He's tired. And these young tech people, he fucking owes them, and they're going to be running circles around him. And he hired them all. So now they're in. They let in a dragon. They kicked out the fox, and they let in a fucking dragon into the White House to, bring in the H-1Bs and, expand into the West Bank and all this other stuff. So, I try to warn people. Now people are listening. People didn't listen in the summer. Everybody wanted the vibes and everything. Now Brat isn't looking so bad, is it? Now Brat is like, now we're all doing the Apple dance, I guess you could say. But so anyways, I don't want to keep rambling, but that's kind of the long and short of it. It is disturbing that if this is true, that Elon is stripping everybody of the check marks and the features, this is a tremendous chilling effect. And it effectively is the same thing that we accused Twitter of being 10 years ago. Like, Trump won in 16, and then the bans started. And the bans started because that was the way for Silicon Valley to manipulate the discourse. And they banned the white nationalists. They banned the alt-right. They never banned people like Posobiec. They never banned like your basic bitch Trump supporters. They banned that radical element on the far right. And they're doing it all over again now. Trump, it was very liberal in the lead up to the election. It was, by liberal, I mean open. He wins the election. Now it appears there may be a crackdown on the far right. And, so all it takes is for a few people to lose their features. And then the message is clear: toe the line, lose your influence. And nobody wants to go back to Gab. As much as Andrew Torba was jacking off Trump and everybody was, gassing up Torba, nobody wants to be sentenced to another life sentence on Gab. We would rather die. Take it from someone who almost did recently. We would rather die. No, I'm kidding. That's too far. But nobody wants to be sentenced to 25 more years on Gab or being banned. It's worse than being dead for influencers. So now everybody's going to be a good boy and say, oh, no, we need the labor. We need to confront China. We need it for AI. It's only 10,000 here and there. It's only 1 million backlogged Indians in the system, blah, blah, blah. And I'll add one last thing, then I'm done. So people are saying this is a racist attack against this Indian guy. People called me a racist for being critical of Vance, for being married to an Indian. It's not, for me, it's not even necessarily a racist thing. When I look at Vance, I see a guy that married someone outside his race. That clearly means he does not care about his race. We do. You may not, but that's a contradiction. We care about that. That's why I'd like to marry a white person or a Mexican person, excuse me, but Vance doesn't care. That's why he married an immigrant or a daughter of immigrants from a completely different civilization. And whatever, I mean, that's their values. But the idea that we could expect Vance to be a reliable advocate for identity, for racial identity, for American identity. It just doesn't work because you look at his Thanksgiving and it's all Indians. And, frankly, that's a different culture. That's a different group of people. And America is being transformed into a different group of people. If he's okay with his Thanksgiving being transformed in that way, he's probably okay with America being transformed in that way. He was never our guy. Elon was never our guy. And, whatever. I mean, Indians are fine. I have Indian friends. I had Indian friends in college. I'm a Christian. I love everybody. I'm not, unlike, ironically, some of these people like Kevin Deanna and Curtis Yarvin. Curtis Yarvin talks about turning like the so-called lesser races into biofuel. No one gives him shit. I wonder why. It's because he's Jewish. I'm Catholic. I believe everybody's fine. I just don't want them in my country. India has 1.5 billion Indians. Why does America need hundreds of, can't America exist too? India will always be there. America should always be there as well. For America to remain America, it can't keep bringing in so many immigrants. It's got to stop. And that's been my position for a long time. And that position is why I didn't vote for Trump. Nobody can be surprised. I told you so, but if you voted for him, you are a sucker. If you agree with me, but you voted for him, you are a fucking sucker. And you should have learned, because we've seen this movie 16, 18, 20, 22. We've seen, for as long as I've been voting, we have seen this movie, and it's playing out again in front of us. So that's my position on this whole thing. I expect apologies. I want apology forms. I'm sorry, Mr. Fuentes. I should have supported Groyper War too, because I was attacked, and I was, people really ridiculed me for that. It was tough to go against the crowd, but I'm really heroic like that. I had confidence in my convictions. I had the belief in myself to stand alone, the fortitude to do it in the long term, and it's paying off quicker than I thought it would. So I expect the apologies. You should be as humble in your humble apology as you were arrogant when you attacked me, as you were smug and aggressive when you attacked me. You should be pacified and submissive. That's what I expect from everybody that attacked me. And then we'll go forward in this. I'm kidding, but we'll go forward in this administration. We have to push back, although it is, ultimately, I think, impotent. We do have to raise awareness that Trump is destroying his legacy with this, and the legacy of MAGA. And, we can't let this become another bullshit administration where we do Middle East wars and infinity immigrants, but this time from Asia. We can't let that happen. So I'm going to fight against it, but that's all I have to say.
Yeah, Nick, let me just say too, I think that, when we get through this administration, there's going to be some things we have to look at. And I think bottom line, if we get 10 or 20%, maybe I was thinking 50% at the beginning. If we get 10 or 20%, no new wars, no troops overseas, better economy, stop illegal immigration, then that'll be better than Brat, I would say, just generally speaking. But on the main issues that you bring up, I want to kind of give you a couple things to chew on here, because there is a little bit of a historical reference when it comes to policy with this stuff. Similar things happened when our jobs were offshored and manufacturing and production was offshored. And a lot of the same arguments were made back then by the same elite class that got rich off of cheap labor overseas. But I don't think anybody would sit here now and argue that benefited America. I think now we look at our hollowed out cities, our rusted out cities, our collapsed infrastructure, our poor people that can't find jobs for a living wage. That's the result of the same logic that's now being applied, in my opinion, to H-1B visas. And so I think that we do have a little bit of a kind of policy reference to say, okay, a lot of the same logic was used for that. A lot of the same influence was used for that. And it certainly did not benefit the American people. And so I think that we can kind of look at that. And then also, I think that this is a little more palpable way for people to understand kind of the wonky, really high political echelon breakdown that you just gave. It's all about follow the money. If they can hire whoever it is, whatever tech billionaire, Silicon Valley billionaire, if they can hire a foreign worker at half the price that works double the hours and doesn't get holidays or anything else, then of course they want to do that. And so I don't think it's a coincidence that now here we are talking about censorship on X when billions of dollars are potentially at stake over how we handle H-1B visas. So I think that that's kind of the palatable way to present this argument is to say, hey, do you think it's a coincidence that the very people that are going to benefit from the foreign labor, billions of dollars at stake, are the ones that are pushing for this policy that all of a sudden we look around and it looks like there's censorship for those that push back?
Well, and that's the thing, that, we need to get real free speech legislation implemented where it's simple. If you censor people based off of political views, then you are to be held liable for anything that's on your platform. Boom. That we need to get this type of
I don't know
legislation
if
in
it's
place
legislation. I don't think
if
it's
we can.
legislation necessarily. I mean, I think Nick has a great tort against X and against Elon in particular for allowing his docs to be up and for a gunman to go to his house and potentially kill him. So I think we need to just actually use the courts that we have, use the resources we have, and force the issue. And it's not like the left is going to protect X or protect Elon.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that they like basically all of these, the way that the courts have interpreted the laws currently, it's like the social media companies have full
No, that's not
immunity for
true. That's
anything
not
that's
true. The
posted
the
on them
courts. I
effectively.
mean, look, I litigated the issue of Twitter suspending me back under the old regime and Huffington Post. I litigated it all the way up to California Supreme Court, and I litigated the other one all the way up to all through the federal courts. So look, there's lots of ways to use the courts to actually bring these issues out there and to expose what's going on. And of course, they have to sit for depositions. Those depositions can be damaging. I mean, look at the damage that Elon has done to his brand just on this Indian immigration issue. These people are not immune to public scrutiny, public investigations. As I've said before, there are several federal grand juries that are convened looking at Elon, particularly on the issue of the self-driving cars and how people have died because of the fraud that was associated with that.
Well,
Sure.
I did want to ask though for Nick specifically about the whole doxing situation with X, and I know I mentioned this in a couple of spaces and threads and all that, but there was a lot of posts that had 16 million views, 4 million views, tons of engagement. One of these had like 200,000 or so likes and impressions regarding an actual dox of his address, his phone number, and this was up for weeks and weeks on end. And people were reporting this and had no results of getting it taken down or anything like that. What can you tell us about X not bothering to enforce their TOS across the entire platform and having posts that had so many views and impressions remain up despite people trying to take that down, and how that contributed to what happened to, unfortunately, with that crazy gunman? What can you tell us about the whole entire situation?
Yeah, so for people that don't know, I posted on the night of the election, I posted a tweet. I said, "Your body, my choice," which is a turn of phrase. The left, they tried to make the election about abortion, and that's their favorite thing to say: my body, my choice. So the night of the election, when it was clear Trump was winning, I said, well, actually, now it's your body, my choice, because Trump won. As you know, I didn't even vote for Trump. It's just a funny thing to say. It's a troll. The post blows up. It gets 100 million views, and people dox my house. They post a picture of my house with my address, my phone number, all that info. And they start saying, well, now we're going to go and kill you. They say, oh, you said your body, my choice. Well, now your body, our choice, because we're going to burn your house down. This is what they're saying. And so the post with my docs gets 16, on one post, gets 16 million views. And there were multiple posts that got that level of engagement. Like, imagine there's a lynch mob trying to kill you, and a picture of your house with your address and phone number goes up on Twitter and gets 20 million views, and happens repeatedly. So this was going on for a month. Huge posts with tens of millions of impressions. with my full, people bitch about doxing a lot. Someone will be anonymous and then people say their name. I don't think people should be doxed like that. But this is a real dox. I'm a public figure. They posted my real physical location, and people do show up to my house. We're talking not one or two. We're talking like close to 100 people intermittently, one by one over the course of a month, harassing me in my house, throwing eggs in my house, walking through my backyard, yelling at me from the street, all kinds of stuff. And when that's going on, you can't talk about it because you don't want to encourage more of it. I don't live there anymore, so now I'm talking about it. Now, of course, this was enabled by the platforms, which did not remove the docs. The docs was able to be seen tens of millions of times, apparently before X's moderation team saw it. And many of them weren't even taken down until last week. And ultimately, this culminated last week in someone showing up to my house with a gun trying to kill me. Some 24-year-old kid, committed a triple homicide in Southern Illinois. I live in Chicago. This kid committed a triple homicide in Southern Illinois, killed his friend and the guy's sister and his mother, got in his car, drove 2.5 hours to my house, and stood outside my front door with a gun and a crossbow and like a can of gasoline to burn my house down, waiting for me to come outside. Thank God we called the police, and the police killed the guy. The police came, chased him out of my backyard. He goes running. He actually killed 2 dogs. He went and hid in a neighbor's house. The dogs, I think, came for him. He killed the dogs, jumped back in the alley. The cops killed him. Just horrifying, tragic situation, all the way around for the people he killed, for the dogs. Everyone was traumatized. Even for him, he's a young guy. I mean, who knows what he was going through. Horrible situation. And it was only after news of that broke that the doxes started to come down. And many of my friends who had reported the doxes, they got 50 notifications the day after that happened saying, "Oh, we removed the post that you reported." Because in rapid succession, boom, 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 we removed the post, remove the post. Because they reported it in November and it got taken down the day that the news broke that someone came to my house trying to kill me. And it's like, that's the kind of harm that can be done on the platform. And me, I'm a free speech guy, and I can even take a lot. I mean, throughout this whole thing, I haven't really been a baby. I haven't even really talked about it. But obviously, when people are coming to murder you, that needs to be mitigated. Like, for that reason, showing someone's location for the purpose of inciting retaliation, especially in the climate of the killing of the CEO in New York and the election and everything, what happened to Trump in July, it needs to be taken seriously. And it's shocking that, apparently no one on the moderation team intervened on that expeditiously. But now that Elon's reputation is being harmed because he went out on this issue, well, now we're going to shut everybody down immediately. I mean, like that. Check marks gone, features gone. You
Do you
are
think
being
that's do you
deboosted.
think that's because
Go ahead.
there's lots of Israelis that run the Twitter moderation system?
I'm sure there's foreign agents that are, and you want to know how you know that? Because they banned phrases that are critical of Israel. There's been a war going on there for over a year now. And we know that the algorithm is being manipulated. And I know this firsthand. My friend Dan Bilzerian, he posted something that wasn't even, it wasn't vulgar. It wasn't, there's no hate speech. He said something about Israel, and the post had its visibility restricted. Like, you can't retweet it, like it, reply. He had a few of them like that. And of course, there are other people like, of course, Boz in the United Kingdom. He got censored during the UK riots, but it was mainly a lot of the anti-Israel stuff that got algorithmically deboosted. It got its visibility limited, or the accounts were suspended. There's even that, of course, that famous phrase that they chanted on the college campuses. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. They said that is now a call to genocide and can be banned on Twitter. Coincidentally, that's that same phrase that Elise Stefanik interrogated Claudine Gay over in Congress last year, like around this time last year. That's the same phrase that they chastised the MIT, UPenn, Columbia, and Harvard because pro-Palestine students were chanting it. And they said, oh, you let people say that, that's called a genocide. And it's like, well, I mean, it's sort of ambiguous. It's sort of subjective. And so, in other words, if that is being aggressively fought, but my docs is left up there for a long time, we can't know for certain because it's cloaked in secrecy. But I mean, you can surmise like which people would love to see me dead, but would also want to censor that phrase. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
we
yeah,
know.
I
I
think,
mean, we know
and
that Musk has a very close relationship with Netanyahu. We know that he described him as the unofficial president of the United States. Like I think it was right after October 7th. We know that there's all these IDF agents that work at X. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that there's also a close relationship between the Indians and the Israelis. So I think all of this is sort of a fair game question about whether or not X itself is a foreign controlled, foreign backed platform and that's harming Americans. And I'm very happy that you survived, Nick, but like this is a real issue and we need to address it as quickly as possible, I think.
I agree, and I'm exploring legal options about that, and I'm going to do my part in it. But you're right. I mean, it is obviously, and it's a tool of statecraft. Like we need to call X what it is. People think X is like a fun thing where you go and shit post and whatever. No, X is an influence tool, and it is a tool of
And
statecraft,
I
and it
noticed,
is.
by the way, that Adrian left the second you started making these arguments. And I think maybe it could be that, there's this question of litigation that might be brought against X and against Elon. And maybe we would discover in litigation that there have been concerted efforts to harm you on this platform. I mean, we have a prime minister of the state of Israel attacking you by name, a guy who's facing criminal indictment in his own country, a guy who's a war criminal according to like all these different courts in the world, and he's singling you out for like being hurt. It's like pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
so I mean, in terms of the timeline and X acting, you mentioned you reported things in November. Did you get any reports that said that these posts did not break TOS and were not a problem or anything like that?
I did quite a few of them. I reported a lot of death threats or glorification of violence. And I would say about 70% of them were actioned. But a lot of them, like the account didn't get removed. The post would be deleted, but the account didn't get removed. And some of them, there was no action at all. And it's like, the fact that nobody was on top of that, the fact that you don't have like people that are aware of that issue and on top of it, like I'm not reporting 1,000 things in isolation. Like it's clearly, that this is there's like a lynch mob being formed, and so that's clearly just like negligence. And Chuck is right. I mean, for Adrian to leave in the middle of that's a little conspicuous. He wanted to go at me in the beginning, didn't he? He wanted to
That
go
was
and
the
get his
idea.
point
Yeah, he tried
across
to
and
go
call
at you and he
Loomer.
tried to go at Laura. And look, I mean, it is Elon. Like I can't really get into how I know it's Elon, but it is Elon. So like let's just be honest about it. And I think the reason he can't go at you and talk to you in a serious way is that this is a recorded space, right? People are archiving it. And I think, if you were to sue, in Illinois, and I would advise that you do sue, and I'm happy to help you get an attorney and all of that and help whatever way I can financially on it. I think we would discover that Elon has been using Twitter as his own kind of personal intelligence device, reading people's DMs. I mean, we got a sense of that too when he was talking about DMs with Laura and like that there's a transcript. It's like, how would he know there's a transcript? Like, how is he getting a transcript in real time of things being said on X? So I found that very curious when all that was going on. So anyway.
I just want to get a couple more questions answered from Nick, because I know it's been very crazy with the whole situation with X allowing doxes to be up and whatnot. When you see people talk about the H-1B visa program on X and have this dialogue, and then you have claims saying, oh well, these visa programs, they're great and all of that, and there should be millions and millions and millions of people coming in per year. With at least with what we saw in X so far, discussion on the H-1B visa, do you think that the pivot from the tech bro sector from we need more immigration and all that, is that going to be a resounding part of the next administration? Is it going to be mass legal immigration, more legal immigration, whether it be H-1B visas or agricultural visas? Like, how do you see immigration play in the next 4 years of the Trump administration?
Well, let me answer this, and then I gotta go because it's getting late. But I think it remains to be seen how Trump responds to this, because a lot of his people, a lot of his like online influencers are really pushing back against this. The whole thing kind of seems like fake, though, if I'm being honest. I don't know how sincere a lot of these people are, but we need to see how, if he weighs in on this controversy, or when or how. I imagine he probably won't anytime soon. He's been quiet, although it is the holidays. But I think it's going to be pro legal immigration. I think that he did change his tune. And I think that, look, not for nothing, but if you want to deport all these people, if you want to get inflation down and all this other stuff, like, he does need the economy to be supercharged. And if they can convince him that the way to do that is to bring in all this cheap labor for their tech companies so we could beat China, I think he's going to go with that. I think he's going to go with them rather than the rest of us, because he's been, even back then, he said, we're going to open up a big, beautiful door. So I think it's, it remains to be seen, and it'll be interesting to see what his what he'll say about immigration after this, this contentious kind of debate on Twitter between one faction and the other, between the donors and this, like, what people are calling the base. So I don't know how he'll respond to all this, but I think he's going to come down on the side of the tech people. I think he's going to bring them in. I think they're going to convince them that this is how, he's going to have a great legacy. So, but that's all I got for you. So I think I'm going to head out.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you again, Nick, so much for hopping up here and talking. And it's very unfortunate what happened with X and allowing this docs and all that to be up for so long. Praying for you, of course, and Merry Christmas to you as well. Thanks for hopping up here.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you all. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Good night, Nick. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So I am probably wrap the space up because my space is completely crashed. I have not been able to do anything in the past like hour plus or couple hours, unfortunately. So I'm probably wrap the space up here. And I think we got most of the points regarding X and conservative organization about how, there's mass problems with X and that there's been mass flaggings of Laura Loomer's account and all of our badges are completely gone. Hopefully Elon can fix it as soon as possible. Hopefully that the badges get back as fast as possible. Loomer's problem with the account gets resolved and all of that. And we're able to have a conversation about X and free speech and the algorithm and the problems that, come with that whole situation. So thankfully this space didn't crash too much, at least for you guys. I know it did with Conservative OG, but I think that this be
Yeah, and everybody, if you take anything away from this tonight, know that the battle of good and evil is around us at all times, and you need to pray to Jesus Christ and get saved. Get it right with Jesus as soon as possible. Thank you guys for all the support. We're going to try to get everything back up and running again, God willing. But Chief, thanks for hosting.
Yep, thanks guys for tuning in. And again, unfortunately, space kept crashing, so hopefully this doesn't happen again. But thank you guys again, and have a good night.